Hello, hi, Dem here, right up at the top. So this is the longest show we've ever recorded, and consequently it's also the one that had the most technical issues. Coffee's side was like particularly blowing up on his end, so I had to use the backup audio. So there is some degradation in certain areas, just to be aware of. I did the best I could. I tried to salvage it. It was basically this or like constantly peaking the microphone. So really all I can say is sorry about that, and also sorry about just the unhinged nature of this. It's 2.5 goddamn hours long in the timeline right now. So I'm sorry about that. I'd also like to advise everyone, this might be really, this is like probably the most video-centric episode of all, so YouTube is maybe the preferred format for this particular episode, as a heads up. Anyway, enjoy the show. I hope you enjoy it, and I don't know, subscribe to me and Coffee, please. I mean, God, we both need it so much. We both need money. We both just need recognition, just a fucking crumb, please. Anyway, that's all. You can find us at Coffeecakes on Twitter, and at Gabriel B. James, or actually, well, now my name is the name is Dem, and you can also find me at YouTube, Demenza Skate, or Coffee at Coffeecakes. He's got a little picture of a little felt guy. It's cute. Anyway, enjoy the show. The links are in the description or whatever. See you soon.
But you're not gonna tell me that didn't sit with you and what we saw on the screen wasn't real.
And I love that Alphaba rides the bike with the basket.
Oh, that's the best shot in the movie.
Totally agree.
The audience claps when they see it.
Sometimes I wear gloves and stuff.
So we're coming to the end of this press tour now, and I think it's been an emotional rollercoaster for all of us. I know you've been asked about how you've changed each other's lives, but I also want to ask you how your characters have changed you for good. So if I could ask you, Ariana Grande Butera, how has Belinda changed you for good?
My goodness. Oh, sorry. You almost got me, but I'm okay. It's really not easy to do.
No.
But we're forced to.
Yeah.
And thank goodness. I'm glad I get to do it. Me too.
But I cannot believe.
I can't believe
funny.
fucking Wicked is the one that's gonna be the one that's gonna get us the most heated. Out of all movies that we've watched, why is it this one?
Oh, Jesus.
Are people born wicked? Or do they have wickedness thrust upon them? You're green.
I am.
We should be good.
Do you want to do another one just in case?
Yeah, sure, we can do one.
Yeah.
Clap on one, or like right after.
Clap on one? What?
What?
You said clap
Yeah,
on.
like,
So you want me to say
Okay,
one
fine.
and then clap?
yeah.
Okay, one.
No, I meant three, two,
one. Oh, okay.
one.
We usually
Like
do
that.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, fine. Let's. Maybe I want to switch it up. Maybe I wanted to feel a little wicked.
Okay. You wanted to. You wanted to be popular. Okay, let's.
Maybe I wanted to defy gravity. Have you thought about that?
We're gonna get into it. I gotta assume you're gonna play the. So what is the intro audio gonna be? It has to be the queer media, right?
I feel like it's gotta be included there, right?
That has to be the intro, because you usually do an intro audio, don't you? Like a silly.
I do.
I like.
Yeah,
that.
I normally.
That's a good format. I enjoy that.
I normally have a little something for the people, a little something for the girlies, you know.
It has to be. It has to be queer media. Like, there's just no way. It's the reason why we watch this movie.
We're in queer media. We're in queer media.
You sound so dead inside when you said it as well, just like the cast of Wicked. Anyway, let's do it again.
And Cynthia, we didn't touch on this, I don't think, in our discussion, but I've seen this week people are taking the lyrics of Defying Gravity and really holding space with that and feeling power in that. Would you touch on that moment in the film when Elphaba has been banished and yet she comes into her full power at that moment of the worst time?
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it, yeah.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it on a couple posts. I don't know how widespread, but I am in queer media, so that's my,
That's really cool.
Yeah, but yeah, it's happening.
Yippee! Yippee!
You sound so sad.
It's well, Comfy. Not to point any fingers, but you did make me watch.
Is this just our intro? Is this just
the film?
Like a hi everyone, welcome to? No, it's just you being pissed off.
No, I mean, okay. I'm not. Hang on. Let's be clear here. I'm not pissed off. I'm not pissed off. I'm not. I had a pretty good time at Wicked.
Okay, good.
We'll go into here.
Hi everyone.
As we talk about the movie. But hi, welcome to the podcast. No, I sound dead inside because this is the kind of film, the kind of musical Wicked is. There's like this void in my stomach that it produces, which we'll get into with time. So it's not like I want to explain this, I guess, in the run up to when we're talking about it more. But Wicked was the very first musical I saw as a kid. What? Because I went to like a school field trip to go see Wicked.
Whoa.
And it was actually, no, it was the second one, because there was actually a Pippi Longstocking musical first. I don't know if you're aware of the character Pippi Longstocking.
Don't worry, I am.
Okay, yeah, there was like a musical for Pippi Longstocking that I saw when I was younger, and I was like, yeah. Okay. Anyway, I saw Wicked when I was like 14 or something, and I remember it being so fucking boring that for years I was just convinced I hated musicals. For the longest time, until I saw Chicago and then realized, oh no, musicals are sick, actually. Chicago fucking rules.
Interesting.
It was just Wicked that sucked shit.
Now, I have to... Hello, everyone. It's your friendly
neighborhood. That's my background of this.
We gotta give some context to this.
When you said to me, we need to watch Wicked, I thought to myself, you mean the musical that... was like one of the least entertaining musicals I'd ever watched in my life.
Don't you get it twisted. We are here to talk about not just the film Wicked, but the cultural zeitgeist that is this film.
I don't know that there is. You act like there is a cultural zeitgeist.
You are not in the same sphere that I am in. You are.
I'm sorry. I'm not in the same place. I'm not in queer media like you.
Mm-hmm. You're also not in Europe. Europe, for whatever reason, has like a massive amount of marketing for this film, and I don't know why. So okay, I'm just gonna start this with the idea that Wicked, whether you hate, love, or loathe, or don't care about it as a piece of musical theater, you can't disagree with me then that this movie is one of the biggest films that's released of the year. It is a cultural moment. Because it's massive. It's one of the single most expensive films made of the year.
Sure. Does that mean I need to give props to every single fucking Marvel movie that comes out? Does that mean I need to give props to every single piece of fucking boy slop that comes out and enters the public consciousness?
When did I say we were going to give props to this pile of absolute dookie? What are you talking about? My brother.
I'm just saying, I do not find how this is any more remarkable than like anything else.
You keep using the wrong terms. I'm not saying this film is remarkable. Dem, for whatever reason, thinks because I'm gay, I have this vested interest in things that are...
It is not that is not what it is. Let's be clear here. Mm-hmm. Where I stand on this is I find Wicked to be very distasteful in terms of musicals because it is a bland musical made for wine moms and people that think Rent is a good musical. I fucking hate Wicked. I think it's boring. I think every song in it, except for like 3, is terrible, bordering on unrememberable, and it's just not a good musical.
It is fascinating.
It's not a good musical. I don't know how the fuck they made it 3 hours for part 1 of this thing.
It is fascinating to listen to. Like Dem is not straight. Dem has never been straight, but sometimes sometimes Dem speaks about media.
So my bearing on musicals is solely like, are the dance numbers and is the music fun? If the answer is not like again, right, Chicago, which I think is genuinely one of the best musical films that has ever been made. Every single song on that track, banger. Every single set piece, banger. Like 10 out of 10s on across the board. Everyone's great. Everyone's doing their best. This just felt kind of like two people were trying. I mean, God, they're trying. But everyone else is just sort of a little sleepy.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So it is quite rare that, because like this is me and Dem's podcast, but sometimes, a lot of the time I do let Dem be the host. It does seem like I am going to have to be the host of this episode because Dem.
You're gonna have to be the host.
Dem does not.
You're gonna have to take the wheel here.
Dem does really not understand what this film culturally and structurally means. Wicked 2024 as a film is. Dem, let me finish.
Well, I feel like I should at least just make people aware of this. My only knowledge of Ariana Grande is she was in the that one Nickelodeon show, and that's the only thing I've ever known her for.
But this is why
I've never really actively listened to any of her music. So
this is why before any of the stands come for me, that's all I've ever. Nobody's listening to this.
Well, you never know, because when we put out the Wicked episode, there might be some weird freaks that come here for the first time ever.
Hi guys.
Hi. If you're here, please, I'm begging you, please. Listen, I know you like Ariana Grande. I know you like the idea of musicals. There's so many better ones out there. Hedwig and the Angry Inch, it's fantastic. You could watch Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's a good one. Fucking Repo, man. Repo the Genetic Opera is better.
As you can see, Dem is a person who presents something from the 70s or 80s being automatically good. Where
what are you talking about? Nothing I mentioned was even in the 70s. What the fuck are you talking?
Are you actually joking?
I guess Rocky Horror is.
And Hedwig, like, it's just Dem.
Hedwig's like 90s, isn't it? It's a 90s film.
Yeah,
it's
film,
pretty late.
Not musical. These are different things.
But I'm talking about the film. I'm talking about musical film now, not like stage shows.
Musical film and stage shows are the same language. They just
they are not.
Damn. Oh my God, you're not listening to me. Okay, what I'm saying is, they have to technically be the same language if they want to be adapted correctly. You have to realize both are their own genres, but they have to be melded together. The best types of musicals do that, and they do it correctly. This is a movie that does not. And we're going to get into it.
I would say it does not. I would definitely say it does not.
I would like to at least kind of wane our audience a little bit into this and not just have mom and dad be fighting.
What's funny is this is probably going to be the one where me and Coffee potentially fight the most, and it's about a movie
that neither of us like,
property that neither of us give a shit about.
Yes,
I could not give a fuck less about the Wizard of Oz universe. Who gives a shit, dog?
I now care about it I care about it as a piece of queer structure because of obviously Judy Garland and the things that film represented
but
for
like
people. But what my point is, not necessarily do I care about Oz and its mystical perverts.
Oh, you haven't seen Oz the Great and Powerful?
No, but I want to.
You know what? Actually, genuinely, while watching this movie, I was like,
I want to get to it. I
wonder what's up with Oz the Great and Powerful.
Yeah, how does he fit into this? Because in my mind now, all forms.
I actually was thinking about that through the entirety of through the near the second act.
Again? What's the voice?
Jeff Goldblum is who shows up as Oz.
No, I mean in Oz the Great and Powerful.
Oh, I honestly don't know. It was like what? 20,
no, it's what's his
14?
name? It's like the crazy guy.
Robert Downey Jr.
No, it's
it would have been of that time.
Oh my God, what's his name? He's like the crazy guy who
the crazy guy.
Terrible movies. He's like a director.
Adam Sandler.
No, one of those though. Oz the Great and Powerful. There it is.
Ben Stiller. I don't know.
James motherfucking Franco. That was it.
Oh, it's James Franco. Okay.
It sure was, baby.
We're cooking.
Yeah.
We're cooking.
So yeah, I suppose if we're gonna context and like loop into what Oz as a structure is, obviously, you know, Wizard of Oz, classic, first Technicolor film, all these things important for like.
It was not. It was not. That is not true.
But you know what I mean. I don't literally mean that. I mean it in a. This is one of the first ever.
It was one of the first. It was
one of the first and most widely watched and viewed. Like it was one of the films that was every human kind of saw after a while because it was so easily found.
What's funny is there's another musical that exists that exists to specifically show off Technicolor.
Yeah.
You might not know about it just because it is like a weird, somewhat Christian related thing.
Oh no.
But it's the Amazing Technicolor Coat.
What? Fucking Jesus in the Amazing Technicolor Coat. Does that have like an old adaptation as well? Because I know the later one.
There's one from like there's a pretty old one. I think the one I'm thinking of is from like the 70s though, but that's another one that was also like a bit of a show off, but that's definitely a little bit later. It was later than Wizard of Oz, but that's another like big stage show that was like a big show off of color and shit. That was then adapted to like not adapted, but it was in that era of like we're just gonna do like a taping of a stage show, and then we're gonna cut it together.
Okay. Fair. But what was I
anyway,
say?
yeah, this is a tangent. Yeah. I just also remembered basically every moment I was looking at the screen, I was remembering everything else that I've watched in my life.
Oh my god, damn! If you don't want to record this video, we can just stop if you want. Jesus Christ!
No, I want to.
Yes,
I want
and me for the first time.
I want to. Okay, yeah.
He's so miserable tonight. I haven't seen him like this in a while. I don't know what.
I'm sorry. I'm a grumpy old man. Yeah, no, Jeff Goldblum was not.
To be fair, Jeff Goldblum in this movie, we're gonna get into it. Listen, the cast is its main problem, in my opinion. And also how the film looks and how it's structured and how it's written and just everything about this movie fucking sucks.
I'll say this.
We sound so angry. I'm so sorry about
this.
Yeah,
we sound particularly angry. I actually don't even really think that most of the casting is like the problem. I actually also think it does look better than it looked in trailers, but not by much.
Oh, sure.
Not by much.
What I mean by look, I don't like
this. There's still a lot of the director. I don't know if he just doesn't have a gaffer. Or if the gaffers are just bad. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of lighting in this that looks terrible. Like, it is some of the worst lighting I've seen in a movie in a while, actually. Well, there's a few shots specifically of Elphaba that are like, why is the sun blotting out, like, the entire frame? It looks terrible.
Okay, Dem, I'm actually
the one of her laying down is the one that immediately comes to mind, where I was just.
I'm gonna be honest. Should we like start from the beginning, because this feels really disorientated? Like
This might be the most disorientated.
I don't actually think this sounds good so far. I don't think we found a rhythm here. Do you want to start from the beginning? Because I actually think we probably should. I think we should probably lean in a little bit more to explaining what this is, because we did just yell for 20 minutes, basically.
It has been 14 minutes. We have not progressed. Humanity has not progressed much in all these years. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Happy Campers. On today's episode, Coffee and Dem talk about Wicked, and boy, it goes off the rail quick. So sit down, grab some cocoa, and sit beside the campfire. It's time once again for us to join these happy campers.
This is going well.
It is. Very, very well. I tell you, you're
killing it.
Truly.
Hi everyone. So you've heard some pre-rambles there. I'm sure it like cut in cutely.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to cut through all this shit.
No, I mean, okay. So spoiler alert, folks. We did record about 14 minutes worth of audio, and it's just unusable because me and Dem got a little.
It's mostly because of me.
Mommy and Daddy had a little too much to drink, and you heard us fighting through this.
I haven't had any to drink yet. I'm still reeling from the bottle of rosé that I had while I watched it.
Oh, so you're the Glinda of the two of us then?
Yeah. No,
are you Glinda? No, you're Elphaba.
I'd be Elphaba.
You're absolutely.
I'd be a bad bitch.
You'd be a bad bitch.
I'd be a bad bitch.
I mean, look at me. Of course I'm Glinda. I'm a bad person and I have a lot of pink things. It's the whole thing.
I wouldn't say bad person. I think you're a pretty great person, Coffee.
Oh. I don't think Ariana Grande is a good person.
I think Ariana Grande needs to eat a sandwich stat. I think someone needs to get her some food.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our review of Wicked. We promise you it will not be 3 hours long, and we promise you we will try our best. We will
try our absolute best, I promise you.
We'll try our best. We'll be on our best behaviors. Me and Dan have already kissed made up of our little argument. For whatever reason, this movie, it does seem to divide people, and it seems to create discussion, which is kind of why I think it's fascinating, because no matter what, if you talk to any F-slur, they will have an opinion on this movie. Every F-slur I've talked to has seen it. Every single one.
See, that's also just baffling to me. I don't.
But the thing is, Dan, you don't live in the type of life I live. Like, you don't.
No, I think the reason that's most baffling to me is this movie didn't really, and we'll talk about this, I guess, a little bit later, but it didn't really feel very gay to me. Like, it felt it's boringly, like almost boringly straight. So I was actually surprised at how straight it felt.
This movie, Wicked, obviously beloved, renowned musical from, I couldn't tell you, the 90s probably, 90s-ish, or maybe early 2000s. Me and Dem are not what you'd call theater kids. We hang out with a lot of theater kids because we're queer and furries, so they just kind of enter our lives.
I was I was kind of a theater kid. I never acted in anything, but I actually did like to there were like a few things in class where like I would have to memorize like a Shakespeare or whatever, and I would like play a part, and I'd get pretty into memorizing my role and like playing that part.
Cute.
But I was never like in the actual theater program or anything like that. I've always just liked acting and stuff.
Did you have one, actually?
As somebody
did you have like a little theater group in your school?
Oh yeah, no, there was like in my high school there was like a whole theater specifically for them, and they would put on shows. They actually were quite known for like big shows in the area.
And where they
not like big shows. They were big shows for a small town.
Were they a little, were they a little fruity?
People there? Oh, absolutely, they were a little fruity. Nobody who's a theater kid isn't.
No, I know.
Nobody who's a theater kid is well adjusted. That's how you get stuff like Wicked.
That's how you get stuff like Ariana Grande.
That's how you get stuff like Ariana Grande.
Wicked as a cultural force, obviously, essentially fan fiction of the classic film The Wizard of Oz. Which is really, I really want to like harp on the term fan fiction, because that is what this film feels like in every single way. Obviously, original film, cultural landmark.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be pretty hard pressed to argue that Wizard of Oz is not an important movie. I think everyone on Earth's seen it. People often give it a lot more credit in terms of like, oh, it's the first Technicolor movie and a lot of stuff, which isn't true, but it is definitely one of the largest. And it was one of the most like influential. Like my grandma had like a ton of different versions of that movie, and we used to watch it all the time over there. It was a pretty big one.
Yeah, I mean it was one of the single biggest films of all time, and kind of changed how we saw movies, but also obviously. Is it a musical? Is the original musical? There's songs in it, yeah.
There's songs in it. There's musical numbers. Yeah, Wizard of Oz is basically one of the very first, not the first, but it's one of the earlier like musical movies.
Yeah.
That was like kind of a, it had a story and then it had a bit of a musical. I think for a large portion of America, it was like one of their very first musicals. Honestly, is a big part.
I'm sure for many people, their first movie as well.
Yeah, I think for quite a lot of people, it was like one of the first big ones they saw that like people were.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, I guess you could say, it was one of the very first like blockbusters of its day.
Yeah. Obviously, you could argue the first blockbuster is something like Birth of a Nation, but like unfortunately. If you point to that film, there's a lot of problems with it. So at least if you point to Wizard of Oz,
Birth of the Nation might be the first blockbuster, but that might have been for a different reason than people.
Sure, I know. That's the sad part about it.
That might be there was some potential influences that might have made people want to go and see that one.
But boy, it was so well filmed.
It was so well filmed.
I mean, it very structured how films looked.
I mean, sure, yeah, but I'm not going to give any credit to.
No. But anyway, you'll give as much credit as you do to Wicked, basically. Where do we even start with this? So Wicked, obviously, stage musical, beloved by the queers. Obviously beloved by the queers due to the Wizard of Oz's history with Judy Garland, Stonewall, queerness, gay men, Friend of Dorothy. There's 1,000 references and links to queerness and the Wizard of Oz. If you've ever watched an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, you will have been hit over the head with those slippers 1,000 times. Which is why it's kind of exhausting. And no one, in a modern sense, really, in my opinion, should give a shit about this musical. But for whatever reason, we're still here. And we're here in the biggest movie of the year, an adaptation of a stage musical that is essentially, what if two girls were gay? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, you're forgetting one link in that chain, which is also it is an adaptation of a stage musical based off of a book that is fan fiction.
Yeah. Okay, that's okay. We can go into the book
of a movie adaptation of another book.
Yes. Have you read it?
Have I read the Wicked book?
Why did I ask you? Have you read
No, I have not read the Wicked book, actually.
You haven't. Shockingly, everyone, Demenza has not read the Wicked book.
I know it's a lot more like wild. I know it's pretty out there in terms of there's a lot of shit in that.
From my understanding,
it genuinely sounds like the book is having a lot more fun with its premise than the stage shows are.
From my understanding, the book is actually more where the movie is going. Because the book's additions are in the movie already.
Why? Okay, fair enough.
We'll get into it. Wicked. One of the biggest arguments me and Dem had in our free little spat there was, is this movie important? And I don't think it's important. Dem keeps thinking I'm adding value judgments in a positive sense, that like words like important or big or cultural.
No, I don't think either of us think it's important, which is more confusing.
It's not that I think it's important in a good way. I think it's important in a deeply disturbing way, Dan. I think it is a movie and its success are going to ruin the industry, is what I mean. Does that help you in terms of where I am with the movie?
I mean, a little bit. I can understand that. This does definitely have the Mamma Mia effect, which is something I worry about a little bit in terms of musical films.
Now, what's that? Now, Dem,
when Mamma Mia came out, Mamma Mia was like a big movie for like suburban wine moms and like people that didn't really have good musical taste. It was also one of the big movies that helped to kind of very much repopularize the jukebox musical, which I fucking hate jukebox musicals. I think they're kind of boring and lame. Make some original music, goddammit. Do the bare minimum.
The Coffeecakes LLC does not agree with any of this batterings.
I think there can be some fun jukebox musicals, but I've yet to find one that I've like really enjoyed.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, I think both Mamma Mia 1 and 2 are fun flicks, and I think you're just being mean.
I think they're fun. Regardless. See, that's what I mean. Mamma Mia spawned then a bunch of other like jukebox musicals that were all very vapid and very like boring and plain. There's stuff like Sing. There's stuff
a film
like
that was made a decade after.
Sure. But there was also
Sing came out like 5 years ago, Dan.
Oh my god, fine. You would get a bunch of other little musicals, the problem is a lot of them didn't end up actually being jukebox musicals, but Mamma Mia like did influence how musicals were shot for a while.
I don't know why you're bringing up Mamma Mia. Wicked is a far bigger thing than Mamma Mia.
Wicked is, well, that's why I'm saying it's gonna have the same, like a bigger version of that effect.
It's gonna be so much worse.
Wicked is a musical that is shot and written and framed in such a way that it's just like it's just a very boring way to do a musical.
Well, I don't know. Okay, my kind of statements here about like my issues with the movie going forward as like because Wicked, like it or hate it, is the movie event of the year. It and Gladiator. It and Gladiator 2 are the biggest films that have released this year.
I couldn't care less about Gladiator 2 now that I know they've removed the big sloppy wet man kissing scene from that movie. So
that was in it.
Yes. There has been multiple. Not only was there an entire character who was just cut out and the actress was like, "Oh, I filmed a lot of stuff. I was surprised I wasn't in the film."
Damn.
But there was also apparently Denzel Washington and another character were supposed to do big sloppy wet kisses. And have a few gay scenes together, and they also cut that one out. So I don't know if there's anything there in Gladiator for me anymore.
No, I mean,
I don't know if there's anything there for me.
There's Paul Mescal. He's Irish. I like him. I support him.
When I saw the trailer, I was like, oh yeah, they're doing the boats. The fighting in the boats with the water. They fill up the arena with the water, and then they go in the boats and they do boat fights.
Yeah.
And I was like, that great. And then I just I don't fucking know.
Gladiator, like realistically, this year is the movie that girls are bringing their boyfriends to, whereas obviously Wicked is for the girlies. The girlies
they're
and the
going
gays.
to Gladiator, and then they're double featuring it with Wicked so that they can also see a movie they want. And unfortunately, I think both are 3 hours long each.
They are indeed. They are indeed. It's a long day, I'm sure, for that couple. I'm sure Sarah and Adam are going to have a great evening later when they both kill each other. Yeah, so obviously Wicked in its counterpart.
I can't imagine needing to piss that much through 6 hours of movies.
I'm going to say one thing. If you need to piss, just go piss. Like,
yeah,
I
did that.
I'm sick of this like movie etiquette bullshit. Like, if you need to go piss, you are allowed to. Like,
yeah, you're allowed to right then and there.
Just
nobody
leave.
Can stop you. Oh,
Did I ever tell you the time I went to go see the Harley Quinn movie with Margot Robbie in it?
Which
I got such a bad migraine during that movie I had to go to the toilet and throw up. And then I didn't go back in the cinema screen because there was like 45 minutes or so left of the movie, and I had just like chunked barf for like the last 20 minutes, so I just left sadly.
Did you ever go back and rewatch it?
No, I couldn't tell you how that movie ends. It's not very good. I mean, it's a modern Marvel like Harley Quinn superhero movie, so who cares?
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, that's one of the only times I've ever left a cinema was because I got such a bad migraine from that movie. Now, to be fair, I did get an STI check before it, so I had lost a fair amount of blood. So
that's fair.
You know,
but yeah, no, I would say I would agree with you that Wicked is definitely the like movie of the year so far. Like, I think for a while Megalopolis kind of was set to be, and then it just wasn't because that movie performed like shit.
I also don't think Megalopolis ever had any legs anywhere. It's just
I think that's fair. I think it was only the movie of the year for people that are weirdos like me who are like, oh yeah, dude, I'll watch whatever this guy puts out.
Well, have you seen it?
No, because I tried to see it at my theater here in San Francisco, and the projector gave out while I was halfway into the city. And then I just never rescheduled seeing it.
Nice.
I tried to.
That makes sense for Megalopolis. No,
yeah, the projector just gave out. It just wouldn't let me.
It didn't want you to see the film.
Apparently not. So now
Francis Ford Coppola walked in and he took the he shut it off.
Now I'll watch it whenever it's on like HBO or whatever the hell.
Are you gonna make Big Mac walk in and do the line?
Yeah, he's gonna walk in, he's gonna deliver the line to him.
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking movie. Movies are so good. But anyway, yeah, no, without that, like, that was definitely one that was kind of trying to be, and then the other one was, this year has been really fucking weird for movies. I don't know what to do with this. Because like Joker 2 was also supposed to be like a big thing, and then that undersold like shit. Megalopolis undersold like shit. Gladiator 2 I don't think is doing particularly well. It's doing much less numbers than they thought it would. Like, it's not, Gladiator 2 is not the summer blockbuster you'd think it should be. Like, in any other year, that feels like that'd be like the movie, right?
Yes, the summer
that'd
blockbuster.
Be like
yes, the summer blockbuster that
the
releases
winter
in
blockbuster.
December.
But it'd be like, like that'd be one of the big ones. Like, fuck, dude, even thinking about December, what's coming out in December? Normally there's like a big movie in December, like a Star Wars or something.
Are you joking? Are you actually...
What's coming out? What's coming up? Upcoming?
Dem earlier said, Dem earlier, I was like, your media comprehension and memory is so
Genuinely, what is coming out that is like a big...
Sonic the Hedgehog 3!
Oh, I just don't even. I honestly, like, even as a Shadow fan, I haven't even thought of that movie as like coming out. Actually,
you're such a pedantic little bitch. I give you an actual answer, and you have an answer back for it. I swear to God.
You bet I do. I legitimately forgot that was coming up so soon. I genuinely, I feel like every few weeks I'm like reminded Shadow the Hedgehog or Sonic 3 exists.
Dem always has this thing where he has such bravado and asks a question, and then you have an actual response for it every time, and then he gets angry for you having a response.
How fucking dare you?
He's the worst improv person.
Okay, so there is at least Sonic 3, but that's even weird for like a big fucking blockbuster still. That's kind of a weird like that's the blockbuster season movie.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to release your movies before Christmas, but usually, obviously, you have... Well, obviously, this Christmas, you have the hit film Sonic 3, but you also have, for the freaks in the audience, you can go see that new Nosferatu movie, because that is opening Christmas
fuck, that
Day,
is
baby.
Actually coming out. I can't see that movie doing, like, particularly well, but if it does, that would be awesome.
Blockbuster, but that's so cool that that's coming out on Christmas Day,
Yeah, that's a deranged thing to do. I'll be there in the seats.
I'll be watching.
But yeah, no, like new, Wicked does feel like out of everything for this year, it feels like the big one.
Oh yeah, Wicked is,
and it's also doing very, very well. It's doing numbers, which means unfortunately.
That's the thing about Wicked. Like, Dem obviously doesn't like exist in the same circles I do, but like SNL has been covering this thing. Media's covering this thing. It's on every podcast. It's on Twitter. It's on every single TikTok. Like the audios of this movie have been absolutely everywhere. You cannot escape this thing.
Doesn't necessarily mean everything, but my theater, the theater I went to, it's a small local theater. Normally, it's like about half full for almost every movie, if not a little less. And I've seen stuff like day one there, and it has not been packed. The only time it has been as packed as it was when I saw Wicked was when Barbie was showing.
That is the power of the games,
Barbie was like the other movie that kind of had this thing where like everybody kind of had to see it, or they felt like they had to see it to be included and stuff.
Yeah.
And this definitely does hit that same spot.
100%. I mean, this is how you market towards the queers. You get a big movie and you put one of the biggest stars in it. It's genius. But did it work?
In terms of marketing outside of that.
But did it work?
But did it work?
Did it work? Well, clearly it did. It's made $1 bajillion million. But ladies and gentlemen, if we're gonna get into this piece of fan fiction, and I as you can tell, our brains are a little destroyed right now because we're talking about Wicked. How would you describe the energy of Wicked as a musical? This adaptation. How would you describe the energy of this movie, Dem? Because I have an answer.
Kind of just like vapid boring. I don't know.
Okay, I don't agree on that.
I'll tell you this: when people went to see Barbie, people were dressed up. People wore pink. They took it upon themselves to wear pink because that was what the movie was themed. And this movie, not only proper, like the marketing is pretty themed into its coloring. There are two colors, there's pink and green. You know, there's options now for people for outfits. Not a single person was wearing a fun outfit at my showing, which is it's a downgrade because like everybody who went to Barbie, they threw on some pink shit. So I'll tell you one thing, and it's that the energy for this one definitely seems to be a little. It's kind of like a worried feeling of not really knowing what to expect is what I would describe the feeling before the movie started.
So that is, that's the thing. That's what we need to lean into, and that's the energy you need to lean into this movie more with Dem. It's not that this film is boring and unstructured and lazy, because it is, obviously. What we need to be thinking about is this film is one of the most manic, uncomfortable experiences for a viewer of popular modern media I have ever seen. This film feels like a joke in every single way, because the things that are happening on screen that are mirroring reality are so fascinating. So if we really want to get into the tea on this, Dem, what do you know about SpongeBob?
What do I know? Like, are you talking about the SpongeBob musical? Is that what you're about to talk about to me?
Yes,
yeah, SpongeBob musical is great. It's an all-timer.
So do we want to get into this? Do we want to get into the lore that you don't know as to why this movie is interesting?
About what?
Ladies and gentlemen, Wicked is a film that has very little to do with actually Wicked, in my opinion. This movie is a backdoor Hollywood trauma response, I would say, or
where the fuck are you going with this?
Let's say public humiliation. That's a better way of putting it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our Elphaba and we have our Glinda. Elphaba, played by Cynthia Erivo, talented, very, very, very good. I believe she's mainly on Broadway, but I couldn't tell you. She's mainly a stage actor.
She was easily the best part of this film.
She's incredible. She is a absolute tour de force. I will hear nothing negative towards her. She's a talent.
Which is great because most of the songs are hers.
Yeah, 100%. If we're gonna get into SpongeBob, we're gonna have to talk about Miss Ariana Grande.
See, that's the part where I'm confused. Like, where
the casting of this film is fascinating in so many ways to me, because Ariana Grande, let's really go through the gambit of who she is as a person. Serial cheater, confused Nickelodeon darling, confused odd American patriot, if you remember the donut scandal.
What? The donut scandal?
And there's just so much lore that you don't know that adds to this film. So Ariana Grande is a piece of cultural force. She is, in many ways, who you could argue as the next Britney Spears. She's kind of that torchpass.
The next Britney Spears is
Let me get into this, Dem. Let me get into this. You're not gonna get in the way of my pop moment, okay? You're not gonna get. This is, you come to my channel, you come and talk about my pop girly stuff, and
I'm seated. I'm seated and I'm listening. I'm listening and I'm learning.
I am defying gravity. Ladies and gentlemen, Ariana Grande. She has wanted and very publicly stated for a majority of her career that her dream role, not only just singing but also acting, is Glinda. Glinda has been Ariana Grande's muse, her favorite character, her obsession for a good part of 20 years, probably longer. She saw one of the first recordings of Wicked with Kristen Chenoweth on stage, and then she came up and like talked to her and everything, and they have a picture. So Ariana Grande has been gagging for this, basically, and she has wanted this movie musical to happen. She for a while was the only person wanting this movie to happen. So obviously when she got the call, she immediately got it. There was tryouts, and there was some rumors about some other people who were in the contention for her role, and let's just say some of them can't read, so it would be very funny. That's a meme for like 4 people. But if we're gonna talk about what I'm talking about as this movie is like a cultural force, Ariana Grande has not had a good 3 years as a person. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Dem, but Ariana Grande has had quite a lot of husbands. Are you aware of this?
Honestly, I gotta be honest. I do not care about her enough as a person to know.
Okay, so Ariana Grande, right? Lot of husbands.
Literally, I said this before, and I think the part that was cut. But my only knowledge of Ariana Grande for a while was quite literally that I had seen her on a Nickelodeon TV show growing up, and then I feel like I blinked and she became a pop star, and that
because Dem
never the two
outside.
life should meet. I just don't listen to pop.
Well, he does. He just shuts off his brain to anything he doesn't actually think
That's
about
not true.
in life.
That's not true, because I did listen to Brat, and that album kind of fucking slaps.
okay. Brad is barely even pop music.
That's not pop. It's just like girly pop. But...
It's more electronic. It's hyper pop, if anything. Anyway, we're getting pedantic about this. My point is, Ariana Grande cheated on SpongeBob with her ex while she
that's right. That's right. Okay, baby. I do remember this now. I completely forgot about this as a thing. Like, I completely forgot about the fact that this was a story a while back, that she was dating or fucking up or fucking around with the SpongeBob musical guy.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
Do you want to go through this cast and see who's playing one of these characters for me?
Is that him? Is that him in the... That's the...
Ladies and gentlemen...
The Munchkin?
We have one of the most important characters in the film.
I wouldn't say that if you're talking about the Munchkin character.
Okay, let's go into a different context then. He's one of the most important... Damn, stop laughing! I'm just saying sentences that are also correct. Damn, do you even know what happens in part 2?
A Wicked?
Yes! Do you know what happens to this character? It's incredibly insane.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You are right. The only reason I'm saying that is because the amount of screen time he gets in this movie is 5 minutes. It's like less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, obviously. So Ethan Slater plays Bach Woodsman, a Munchkin, madly in love with Glinda. Ethan Slater is, I could only describe as a shoe of a man. Truly just meant to be stepped on as a creature. He is an insufferable little scab, and I hate him so much. I think he is a putrid piece of shit on this earth. But he plays Ariana Grande's love interest in this movie. That seems very similar to something that happened in real life, Dem. Isn't that a bit odd that they're cast together in the same movie? It's almost as if they might have made this movie so they could cheat on each other, huh? This movie was being filmed around the same time they were cheating in New York.
Okay, alright.
This film is vile. There is so many things wrong with this movie. It is so, this film essentially is showing Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater's on-screen romance as a piece of culture that is happening in our reality, and we're all supposed to just be fine with it. All the while, we are watching a film that is about the Wizard of Oz, a cultural classic movie. What current weight loss drug begins with O and Z?
All right.
Damn.
I feel like you have kind of like the Charlie Day
Damn
conspiracy theory wall behind you.
Damn.
And you're like running the red strings.
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying these things are literal because it's fun to make connections in culture. What I'm saying is all of these things... No,
I like this conspiracy. Continue at it.
It's not even a conspiracy. We know Ari is on Ozempic. We know she cheated with Ethan. But then Ari just released an entire album about it. And then everyone was like, oh, it's fine then. Like, what? Like, this is just insane. We're applauding a woman who is essentially... Listen, we've all seen the interviews. We all know what's going on here. We all know that something is wrong with this movie, because Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande have been acting like they have both killed and disposed of a body.
There is something like genuinely fucked in terms of the behind the scenes here going on that we do not know about. I don't know if it does seem to partially just be like neither of them seem to be eating food, and that doesn't help. Especially Ariana Grande. She does not seem she does not seem mentally sound currently.
So
neither of them, which also that also explains the thing a few months back that was like her getting so upset about the people fan editing the poster.
There we
go.
And
all that. Because if they are just like starving themselves on that fucking set, which seems fairly likely.
I would have the argument, I don't think it's the production or the set. I think it is just modern culture has gotten so disgusting that these two women, who are two of the biggest singers and rightly well singing in their roles, everything comes off as uncomfortable because this feels like a blood laugh. This film feels so gross to me because I don't want this discussion to be about their bodies, but unfortunately it has become that because look at what we're being fed. Look at these interviews. They are truly. I know we played a little bit of the I'm in queer media moment, if you will, at the beginning of this podcast, but it's not just that interview. That's almost one of the funniest ones. Some of them are just actually like Ariana's not doing okay, guys.
Some of them are, yeah, they're a little where it really is just like somebody who is not.
And I'm gonna be quite honest, it's a really stark parallel to Judy Garland in the original Wizard of Oz, because this is happening again. We're essentially lording these young women to kill themselves, more or less, for quote unquote art, as a piece of like Americana subversiveness. But what is the Wizard of Oz as a story? It's essentially a big magic man promises a lot of stuff, and then women are killed for it, basically. Which is technically what Wick is about as well.
It is, yeah. It does all. It does all feed into the fucking machine, the meat grinder.
That's what I'm getting at. This movie feels like a fucking meat grinder. It is shoving people into it and disposing of them afterwards, because it has nothing to say. The musical parts of this film that are impressive are clearly the moments where Ari and Cynthia are connecting with each other, because you can tell there is a connection there. But is it healthy? I don't know if it is, because it certainly doesn't feel it.
It currently, right now, from the outside in, it feels like two people that currently enjoy each other's company, but might in fact be making each other worse. Time will probably bear out some more information. Time is probably gonna bear out some more fucking things here. I can see that happening.
They have like 15 matching tattoos.
They have matching. I did see that part. That part's new info. Yeah. This is new.
It's really scary. Like, it's I can't look at it as anything other than these are two women who are being essentially trotted out in front of a really pretty version of a story that people already know, and then everyone clapping. And then if what I believe is actually happening, this is not going to end well for either of them, because are these girls going to be able to make it to the green carpet next year? Genuinely. It's really weird.
Yeah.
It's really odd, because we have to do this again next year, and how is the question going to...
Is it coming out that soon?
Yeah, it's all filmed.
I see, okay, so it is already just done filming.
Yeah, they did this to make money, so obviously part 1, part 2.
Well, also because it would otherwise be 6 hours, which, you know, that's pretty standard for, like, a play anyway, but also, like, they make it so long.
You could also cut out, because they do add new songs.
You could cut out so much.
Yeah, you definitely could. So if we're gonna get into new here, or if we're gonna get into
we should probably get into it proper. You know, because we're talking about the surrounding.
We've probably been talking about this movie for like a solid 30 minutes, but yeah, obviously, Wicked is a story. It's about a fan fiction. What if the Wicked Witch of the West, the Glinda the Good Witch, and the Wicked Witch of the East. Actually, everyone is in it now that I think about it. It's a prequel.
Yeah, just about everybody.
Act 1 is a prequel, and then Act 2 is just adaptation of the original story, basically. So it's basically what happened if all of the witches knew each other in some form, and they were all this weird, incestuous, awful college group. And then racism, I guess, question mark. The Wizard of Oz, as a story, obviously, it takes its things, and like this version of the Wizard of Oz, it's obviously seeing it through like a lens of like gay ass, musical theater ass, hyper emotions, hyper over this, like hyper emotions through music and all this stuff.
The original screenplay is definitely like a pretty clear cut, like this is an allegory for being different, but mostly it's an allegory for racism. It's
racism,
just
queerness.
Racism.
Well, I'd say queerness as well.
I don't know how much. Probably you could probably pull that from it. I don't.
Well,
I have never viewed Wicked as a thing that is particularly gay.
Oh, so you haven't been holding space then?
I have not been holding space. No,
You haven't been holding space for the lyrics of Defining Gravity?
I really.
Well, you are bisexual, so you've only been half thinking it.
That's why it hasn't impacted me so much. That's why it doesn't speak to me.
I mean, it doesn't speak to me either. No, I mean the queerness element, especially in the modern sense, because like Cynthia is queer and black, so it's like she very much clearly wanted this to have a tinge of it.
There is definitely more of a little bit of a work, because they also focus a lot more on other aspects that I think expand on it a bit more. We'll I guess talk about this as we get into it. But yeah, basically the setup of this thing is it's kind of like a Mean Girls.
Basically a Harry Potter, but yeah, basically just Harry Potter. Like, it's just the same thing. People act like it's not, but it's just it's fan fiction Harry Potter.
It is, yeah. It's kind of fan fiction Harry Potter, except
through the lens of what?
Oh, the one thing is that like most people are kind of just like faking it, which is like.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I think that's pretty cute. That's always been a part of it. Like most of the people that are there in the wizarding school are just like, faking it till they make it.
What do you mean?
Nobody is shown to have magical powers.
That's not how magic works in the Oz universe. That's not how that works. You'd learn it.
I'm sorry. I'm not as informed about the Oz universe.
Tim, if you want to just be pedantic and mean, like, I'm sorry.
I'm not trying to be pedantic and mean here. I'm simply saying so. In the school setting, none of the other kids have any sort of like powers.
Yeah, because like
there's no magic hijinks going on here like a Harry Potter would have. Instead, there's one magical girl in the entire school that we see.
Yeah, basically, like the way like magic works in the universe is like you just kind of have to learn it after a while. Glinda doesn't technically have any powers, but she does learn it as the movie goes on. She's given a wand, obviously, and it doesn't necessarily make her a witch because of that. So that's why she's not technically part of that part of it, because they only consider Elphaba a witch, because she gives her a stupid witch hat. But anyway, yeah. How would you describe it? Harry Potter set up a bunch of kids brought into.
Harry Potter, if Harry Potter was the only student at school. And maybe Glinda.
Sure, I mean, like,
two people at school.
The way magic in their universe works is it's more like an occupation. It's less than a... So, like, people are sent there if they're rich and they want to do magic, basically. Because, like, everyone can have the ability to do it, more or less.
Yeah, it's the Dragon Ball principle.
I don't think animals can do it, though. Yeah, also in this universe, animals exist and are sentient and are the single laziest version of racism allegories I've ever seen in my life.
It's pretty bad.
So boring. Although, shout-outs to the fucking bear who delivered Elphaba. She's so cute. I would absolutely give everything up for that bear.
Yeah.
Canon trans bear. Good for her.
I liked the... I didn't mind seeing Peter Dink. The Dink Man.
Oh yeah, Peter Dinklage is in it. He is a ghost.
I always like seeing Peter Dinklage because I just, I like him.
My boy cannot sing. My God, they try and make him.
They try and make him for one song, but it's played for laughs. I think it's just the one.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, this is a movie musical problem where a majority of the people in this movie are hired because of their names and they cannot sing.
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely a problem.
We have Michelle Yeoh as kind of the grand mistress teacher who's in charge of like all the teachings of the place. She is just terrible in this film. I love Michelle Yeoh with all my heart.
She is. Yeah, I did notice that. I was constantly like, I wasn't sure if she was just supposed to be kind of like weirdly off, or if that was
nothing about her like made sense for this role.
Nothing about her particularly worked. At all.
The worst casting I've ever seen. I like even like I would say what's his name Jeff Goldblum is a bit better, but he just can't sing.
I think he's good as Oz, but yeah, he's not a singer. I think he actually works quite good for like being the wizard, purely because he's kind of like. Jeff Goldblum has that like that sleazy guy energy, right? That you want for that kind of character, which is who you want. He just can't really sing.
No, and they try and make him, and it just doesn't work. In every way, it doesn't work. Unfortunately, like the main three singers of this movie are the main three characters. It's Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, and Justin Bailey, who is the main male love interest of the movie, who is a man called Fioro, who I could only describe as the most insufferable character of all times, but my God, he can sing. My God, he can sing. Jesus Christ, that man can sing.
He's kind of like a Gaston that's not fun.
Yeah.
Like Gaston's a little fun. When he comes in, he's like, fuck books. I hate this shit. You know, with Gaston, you're like, it's Gaston. We love you, Gaston. You're great. This guy just kind of sucks, and everyone wants to fuck him, and that's his character.
Yeah, this movie basically is a love triangle between, well, a lot of people wouldn't say it's a love triangle in a traditional sense. I would say it's a literal love triangle because all of them like each other.
Towards the end.
I'm not going to have the statement here and be like, oh, Glinda and Elphaba aren't lovers. Yes, they are. Gang, there's no way of reading that movie without looking at them as queer. It's ridiculous. The song What Is This Feeling is basically just the hit song Casual by Chappell Rowan, but for fucking theater kids. It's the same thing. But boy, two lesbians sure hate each other. This sure isn't flirting. Oh boy, we're in the same room. What if they kiss? What if they can't?
What if? Maybe they'll do it in the second part.
Though, well, they basically already did. So it's a love triangle between three people, one of which is green because her father is potentially the Wizard of Oz. Oh yeah, by spoilers, by the way, no one cares. Like, I don't give a shit about part 2 spoilers. Like, do you?
I do not remember most of Wicked, so no.
Oh, okay, that means I can, spoilers for the film.
Legitimately, so I was saying this in preference, and this might be in the part that was cut out, but the only reference I have for Wicked is I saw it during a school field trip. There was like a local production of it that was put on. So I watched Wicked, and I said this to Coffee, but it was like the second musical I'd ever watched, and I was convinced after watching it that maybe musicals were bad for like years. Long ago in our relationship, Coffee will remember I used to fucking hate musicals, and it was single-handedly because of seeing Wicked as a kid and being like, I didn't enjoy that show. I just don't.
I technically have no history with it. I just know about it because I'm, because
you're one of them.
Because I'm Glinda. I'd never seen it the full way through, but I had obviously heard popular Defying Gravity. Like, these are songs you.
Those are the songs that are actually good in there, which are that, and then no one weeps for the wicked or whatever.
Yeah, No One Weeps for the Wicked. I quite like What Is This Feeling because I like musical theater songs that are fighting. I like when two people are fighting because I always think it sounds really good in a song. For context, by the way, I had never seen Wicked before. My experience with musical theater is I kind of hate it. I like Avenue Q quite a bit because I like the Muppets, and I like Heathers, and I like the Mean Girls musical because I'm an F slur. That's
I would love that. I
I
haven't seen the Mean Girls musical. I'd probably love it.
What, the new one or like the...
I've completely turned around on musicals since then. By the way, it was purely just like Wicked has some good songs. I think the vast majority of it has very bad, boring songs that are not memorable.
I don't really think the songs are the problem with Wicked. I think Wicked's problem is its fan base.
That is made worse. So Wicked definitely has like again, Wicked is a movie that's made for like suburban 30-year-old women and wine moms and stuff like that. That is who Wicked has always felt like it was made for.
I think you're kind of wrong about that. I do think they are an audience part of it, but I don't think they're who it's inherently for. I know who they're for though, and they're worse. And they're for yuppie straight New York. Not straight. They're for yuppie, gross, rich New York queers. And they're the ones who will spend thousands on a ticket for no reason, just because they know every single Elphaba's name.
I feel, again, like one of the things I said before was this, like, everybody is definitely impressing upon it queerness to this movie. And I can for sure see it to some degree. Wicked is one of the straightest musicals I have ever watched. Like easily one of the straightest musicals I've ever watched.
I don't know how you get that at all.
But it is. There is... Okay. Let's think of other musicals just off the top of my dome. In Chicago. Again, my favorite musical. I love Chicago. It's a great musical. That movie's pretty fucking clear about women should just kiss women, and also killing men is cool and awesome. Yeah. That movie, pretty gay, pretty good, pretty fun. A lot of funness, a lot of openness with its queerness, and it's just in general a good time. I do think there is some of that in this. I'm not saying that I don't think Wicked has moments of that. I'm not saying Wicked doesn't have queerness as parts of its story, right? Again, the relationship between the two leads is pretty clearly that. What I'm saying is it is presented to the audience in such a way that it feels like it's so parsed down and clean and boring that it just feels...
That is Broadway musical theater. I think you just have more of a problem with very traditional, stage play ass, Broadway mix. Chicago is a very rare. I think
my main thing is we've come a long way from Wicked in terms of musicals are far more willing to be expressing these feelings, these thoughts, these things.
I think we've gone backwards, Dem. The last countercultural musical was fucking Hamilton. We're in the dregs, babe.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. But that's also discounting musical movies, though, as well.
What do you mean?
There has been some just for film musicals and stuff since then that were.
For sure. I mean,
granted,
my point is Wicked was such a big hit. The next kind of version of Wicked, obviously, you have stuff like Spring Breakers, Les Mis. Obviously, Les Mis was before it, but that was still a big version. And then it was Hamilton, because Hamilton was the start back from a lot of failures. I mean, lest we forget Spider-Man or the American Psycho musical. There's a million that were absolute failures, but Hamilton unfortunately was the first one that brought people back. And then
it was. I mean, it's hard because it is a genre that is just frankly not as popular as it used to be.
We're getting a Hamilton movie now.
Oh yeah, for
sure. After the success of this,
I've honestly been surprised there wasn't one ever. They made the stage play a thing, but that was
there's a filmed version of it, but it's I think it's just too new. I think it's too new. They have to wait a few years.
Yeah, that's probably true. It's also fairly rare for again a lot of musicals to eventually break onto the movie scene. They normally do after about 10 years after they come out from the past and stuff. So it's tracking to be about that. And I feel like that was always destined to happen. I've still not seen Hamilton. I really don't have any desire to see Hamilton.
Just don't. Please
Hamilton
don't.
Seems like the kind of thing you'd watch if you were
on a plane.
Maybe it is a plane movie. That's maybe what it is. I can't think of any other setting that I'd want to watch that. And even then, I'd probably be fuck, they got the Equalizer on this? I'll watch that.
No, literally, I'd be I can have 3 hours with my brain. That sounds better than listening to Lynn.
I'd rather stare at a wall.
I'd rather stare into absolute dead space than have to listen to Lynn for that long amount of time.
But yeah, no, I definitely, I can see that. I don't know, again, I think my problem with Wicked has always been, the way it presents itself is so parsed down and so bland to me that, whatever queerness it is trying to express, it just feels it's not saying anything bold enough to be worth it. Rent is doing fucking more with its shit than this.
Sure, but my problem with something like Wicked is I just think Wicked fans and its fan base presented what is essentially 20-year-old fan fiction as to be the most important piece of musical theater of all time.
That's definitely a thing. That's kind of what I mean is I feel like it came out and it has some of these elements, a little bit of them, but they're all very, very, very minimal. And for years there has been people post it coming out that have retroactively made it this thing that it's not. It is not this bastion for queerness or anything like that.
Okay. That's not a fair comparison because people can make any form of what they want from queerness at True Media.
Sure, they absolutely can. But Wicked fans are plentiful, and they're loud.
Yep. And they're loud, and they also half the time don't get the message of the fucking story to begin with. Like, and the thing is Wicked fans have obviously come out in droves for this movie, and they have ignored the problems with it. They ignored the fact that the two women that they're absolutely standing are essentially being starved for their own entertainment, or the fact that this film presents like stuff like Oz through like essentially visuals and CGI that is so bad it looks like AI generation. Everything about how this film visibly looks, unless it's in an actual stage set, is so gross and so boring and so Marvel coded.
Why did they go shot like that?
It is, the way this movie looks is so gross. It's so gross.
The way it is shot. So there are definitely some moments of color. Oz, once you get into it, there's a little bit more green. They're willing to do a little bit more. This entire movie needed to be color graded better, number one.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't tell me it's not possible to make something look like Technicolor either, because fucking Pearl exists, and that movie looks fucking phenomenal. That movie looks amazing. It has great color grading. It looks great. They could have easily done something like that, but they chose not to for the sake of quote-unquote realism was the director's reason, which is stupid as shit.
Well, it's not realism. It's because it's cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, that's the actual reason, but the on-paper reason he gave as a director when people asked was, well, we wanted to make the world of Oz feel grounded and realistic.
Because the thing is, anytime the film is actually presented on a stage set, and you can tell the scenes that are and aren't, like, in a second.
Easily.
They are impressive, and they're quite well done. I think the best scene in the film, oddly enough, and it's the best musical number in my opinion, is Dancing Through Life, which is the spinning library section.
Yeah, that one's really good. Even the one where they're in, like,
it's physically done.
Yeah, that one actually is like they built a contraption to spin people around on and shit, and
it
feels like an actual space. When they're in like a set, it just feels. I don't know why musical movies are always so afraid of that. That's one of the things that I really, really like about, again, to praise it. The reason I'm praising it so much is because I genuinely think it is like the best adaptation of a stage play. But Chicago like works sets into its scenes, and I wish more musicals were willing to do that, to make things kind of look like sets.
We do also have to kind of at least give some credit to the point of you are comparing a film like Chicago, which you can adaptate into a very simple structural, these are just like apartments and sets and prisons. It's a little harder to do for the entire universe of Oz.
Is it that hard for Wicked, a movie that mostly takes place inside the part one of which mostly takes place inside of a school, and is it really that hard? Because all of those are internal buildings. There was no need for Ariana Grande to run out and go stand in an empty field that looked like shit. There was no need for that.
Okay, can I just give 2 points?
Yeah.
That was Cynthia Erivo.
Cynthia Erivo. I didn't remember who it was that ran out, but like that scene, that's the big one I can think of where it just looked really not good.
Second part is that's a physical set and a real place.
I still didn't think it looked like a good shot. I don't really care that it's physical. You can have things be physical and it can still look not good.
You said it was CG. So you're wrong.
I apologize for being wrong. It's still it's CG. However, you still could have made a better looking set.
My point is, like, I don't really think the school is the problem visibly. I think the least of the film's worries is the school. I think the problem with this movie is its second act, because I think Oz, one, it's too fast. Everything happens in Oz within the span of about half an hour, where we spent maybe 2 hours in that fucking school.
I did notice the pacing was deranged, not just with that, but okay, so also, we haven't really been talking about this movie linearly
who cares?
Because of the fact, frankly, there's not a lot that happens. The first half of the film is it's spent in the school. Elphaba has magic powers. The headmaster there likes her. She eventually writes a letter for her to go see Oz, yada yada. Meanwhile, there's like the animals that exist, and they're being basically their citizenship is being taken away throughout the film. So like most of the film, 75% takes place in the school. After she gets a letter to go talk to Oz, she hops on a train, goes to Oz. meets him, finds out he's like just a guy, and then she finds out that she is in fact, like actually magical and actually has the ability to read a book or whatever that grants her, special spells and all this stuff. And then, she flies away and she sings Defying Gravity.
The book,
but like the pacing of it is that 75% of the time you're just sitting in the school. There are points where, so like the movie starts, it has its intro song, then there's like a 15-minute period of nothing, just dialogue and all that stuff. And then it is song after maybe a 5-minute break, then another song, then another 5-minute break, then a song. There's a lot of musical numbers in that school.
The musical numbers, like in terms of where their pace isn't my problem.
It's not a problem. I was just remarking on how like breakneck there are. There are points where like I don't remember if you remember the one, but the first one where Elphaba's like in the school walking around it. There's like a song number there, and then she like turns a corner, and there's another song number there. And that was one of the most ones where I was just like, oh dude, they're just going breakneck on these things. They're just throwing them in.
Kind of has to, though. I mean, that is how the first act is structured. So, like, that's the weirdest part about putting these movies into two parts, because Wicked is a stage musical. All of the big songs are in part one, and then part two has a few, but it's realistically, it kind of turns into more of a stage play, because there's actually very few songs in part two.
It's pretty top-loaded, and then it just becomes kind of drama.
Probably get a reprise of Defying Gravity for sure, because there's no way they're not going to have it again. They are making new songs for it though.
The other thing I'm also a little like, pretty much I'm trying to think, what songs did Glinda even have? It was
Popular,
one, wasn't it? No, it was
Popular,
two.
Damn, let me... Popular, What Is This Feeling? She is in the chorus.
I guess. She's in the song in the library as well, I think, in like the...
Yeah, she's in Dancing Through Life. She's in... Where is it? But her Glinda's big song is Wicked. Popular. It always has been.
Yeah, it's been popular, yeah. But she really was just like, for being Ariana Grande, you'd expect her to sing more. And she didn't. I assume that's because part two is going to be mostly focused on her a little bit in that regard.
I'm looking at here. No One Mourns the Wicked she's in. She's in Dear Old Shits, What Is This Feeling, Dancing Through Life, Popular, One Short Day. So she has 5 songs.
Okay, that's at least more than I thought. I only really remembered the 3.
Yeah, well, I mean, earlier, like, your memory isn't very good, Dan.
That is also true. I'm an old man with dementia, but I'm also betting they're gonna have her be a little bit more. I'm willing to bet a lot of those new songs are probably for her in part 2, because if I remember right, Glinda doesn't have a ton.
So,
like in general, she doesn't have a ton.
For part 2, and like, I'm not really gonna talk. We've talked enough about like what the movie is about. Realistically,
I think it's a pretty simple film in terms of its like framing. Like most musicals, it's a pretty simple film in terms of its framing. What you're more so looking at is like how things are framed. The dancing, the numbers, the song, the mixing. I will say, I thought it was had pretty decent sound mixing and stuff. And for what it is, I think the songs were pretty good. They were well produced. To give it its credits in that regard.
Yeah, in a musical sense, it is kind of interesting to think, like every podcast or review I've heard of this movie, it's been like, who's your favorite Elphaba? Who's your we don't care. Neither of us care about, we don't know the names. I know who Idina Menzel is, and I know who Kristen Chenoweth are, because I'm gay. That's all I should know. I shouldn't have to know every single Elphaba. That's insane.
Yeah, it's...
I just don't know how these gays have that form of like memory.
This feels like this is like a. I'm willing to bet there's a lot of crossover between like all the big Swifties and the Wicked fans.
Yeah.
They just seem like the
Disney gays. Yeah, for sure. They're the same.
I guess that's what this is. Wicked might just be a movie for Disney gays. That's why I particularly detest it, because I don't like those kind of people.
I went to go see this film on a sleepy Tuesday evening with myself, the only gay man who was there, and also the only gay man who did not want to be there. including myself, was my dear friend TJ, who is a trans man. We have my boss Fergal, who is a bisexual man, and then we have my friend Eamon.
You went with your boss?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll circle back to that. Continue.
We're friends. He listens to this podcast.
He listens.
Everybody say hi to my boss. Yeah.
Hey, can you get coffee or raise?
Nah.
Please?
We all know that. I barely do any work to begin with.
My bestie?
Anyway.
we talked so much shit on this thing.
About what? We've never talked shit.
No, I mean like in general, like we talk about going to fucking clubs in this thing.
Yeah, he knows I'm a whore.
Okay, but continue on. Who else did you go with?
And my friend Eamon, who is a straight wrestler.
Okay, all right.
He was the most excited.
That sounds right. That sounds about right. Like Wicked. That sounds like the audience for Wicked.
Yeah. So it was all four of us, and before the film even started, I'll give you a little tinge of the mood I was in. Before this film started, there is an ad that is being played in a lot of European cinemas, where two separate Google Pixel phones, dressed up as Elphaba and Glinda, start talking about how they have AI generative searching machines inside them, and that they are powered by AI that makes them so fast that they can defy gravity.
I think I don't like this movie.
When that ad played, I felt broken inside. I was just like, we're cooked. We're done as humans. We are done.
This is the end.
This is it. I am watching a movie and I'm watching two fucking AI-driven phones dressed up as queer characters saying that they're defying gravity. It's insane. Like, the timeline we're living in is madness.
It really
How
does.
did we get to this point?
In a little bit, again, man, like just the leaning into it and everything, and the leaning into like a lot of this stuff that studios do, where they like lean into. Okay, I don't know if you've noticed this trend, right? And this is kind of, I guess, a little bit of a tangent, but it's sort of related to this kind of industry thing. But like, yeah, this whole entire video is a fucking tangent. Thanks for listening, by the way.
I'm having fun, honestly.
But there definitely has been an uptick in like the whenever a Marvel movie comes out, or like a Star a Star Wars or whatever, some reporter will go, "Is this movie gay?" And then one of the actors involved or whatever, or director or whatever, will be like, "Honey, this is the gayest Marvel movie yet," and they say that for every single one. I think we're firmly in the rainbow capitalism has gotten out of control part, you know?
Well,
I think we're pretty firmly there.
Dan, you have to think about it. We are in queer media.
We are in queer media, so you know we've seen people talk about these things online.
I've seen a couple of posts online, and like that interview is such a perfect encapsulation of why I find this movie fascinating, because this movie, in a lot of ways to me, is like the death of culture, because we've reached such a point where a movie like this being the movie thing of the year, like the biggest movie for like both queer people and straight people, unfortunately, and it is just a Marvel movie. It's coded like a Marvel movie. It looks like a Marvel movie. It's shot like a Marvel movie. It has a We have to do it again next year. They're even keeping us like little hooks in our.
It ends with a to be continued.
It's just everything about it. I was
surprised there wasn't a post-credit scene where like the fucking like the lion shows up or something.
Oh baby,
it's possible there is one, because I also left. So if you're saying there isn't one and you also left, then. As far as I know, like the lion shows up and he's like, "Whoa."
Considering neither of us care about Wicked at this point, I'm just gonna get into it. Do you know? So part 2, right? We're gonna have to do this next year.
Right.
Hopefully our podcast is still going. Hopefully neither of us are dead. We're gonna do
the phantom
part 2.
pain of the Wicked universe.
Part 2 will feature the original cast of The Wizard of Oz, obviously. So we will get and see Dorothy. We will see.
They're gonna get Judy Garland for the role.
Yeah, they're gonna dig her up.
They're gonna dig her up.
They're gonna get Liza Minnelli before she dies to play Judy Garland, her mom's role. Genuinely, I my letterbox review for this movie is I hope Liza Minnelli never sees this because I think she would just be so sad.
Yeah, it's a little.
She would just see her mother in it. She would just see she would see another
There's
starving.
Something particularly
she would see a starving white woman on screen and say, "Ah, yes, there's Judy."
The idea of like the Wizard of Oz crew walking up in like a JoJo-esque pose to the fucking like castle. That's just like, I mean, that's really it at the end of it all. Like that, now, the fact that we are Marvelifying the fucking cast of The Wizard of Oz, a movie in which no one really fights or does anything. They just sing.
Now, Dem. Do you want to know the kicker about this? The fact that we're now because we're going to see we're going to see new fucking Marvel versions of characters from the 30s.
The Tin Man, the Tin Man's going to be so awesome and cool. He's going to be fucking rad.
Dem.
Oh, he's going to be awesome.
Dem boy. Do you know the secret?
What's the secret?
We've already seen them.
What do you mean?
Do you not know?
No, what are you talking about?
The best part, the reason why I want to see Wicked Part 2 so bad is, and there's so many bits I've left out about this movie, but it's the contingency plan and the ending and the knowledge of knowing what happens to these characters that is driving me with so much spite and bile. And it's the knowledge that these people are going to be cursed. You don't understand, we have seen the Tin Man. We have seen the Scarecrow. We have seen the Lion. The only people from that lineup we haven't seen is Dorothy. Do you want to know who they are?
Who are they? Yeah, go ahead.
So our friends, a character we haven't actually mentioned at all, is who I would argue realistically is the villain of the piece. We haven't talked about the villain of Wicked, have we? Because I know we've talked about Oz, but we've left someone out. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you about the piece of shit that is Nessa Rose. Elphaba's twin sister. Well, not twin, but sister. I think Nessa Rose is one of the most evil creatures ever created on cinema.
Jesus.
Nessa Rose, the amount of TikToks and edits I've seen of people being like, I can't wait until Nessa Rose in part 2. Because Nessa Rose, as a character in this movie, is Elphaba's sister. She's considered like the rich one and the one that her dad likes, basically. So she's sent to the college, which we have unfortunately not mentioned. The name of the college is shit.
It's shiz.
It's shiz.
It's shiz.
Like, Wicked fans
we got an hour into this thing and we didn't mention shiz.
Wicked fans are acting like this franchise is cool and interesting and fun, and their fucking school is called Shits. It's so funny. I swear to God, they're such dorks. But anyway, Nessa Rose is Elphaba's dear daughter sister, who is brought into the school. And Elphaba as a character has essentially her entire life been degraded, seen as a freak, told to shut up, and the only person who she ever had was her sister, because she took care of her sister because no one else really did, because her family was rich. So she obviously grew up with Elphaba, and they were very close. Nessa Rose doesn't care about her sister in any way. Nessa Rose is a vindictive little bitch who decides halfway through the movie that the new munchkin prick that she's met for the first time in 5 minutes is more important than her dear sister who has helped her entire life. Do you know what Nessa Rose ends up becoming?
I genuinely do not remember, no.
The Wicked Witch of the East, bro!
Oh, okay.
She's the Wicked Witch of the East!
I see, okay. See that, yeah, there's so much of Wicked I don't remember because I haven't seen it in 14 fucking years.
Nessa Rose spends a majority of this movie negging, emotionally manipulating, and destroying Elphaba, a woman who is just a good person in every way. Maybe the only good person in this entire fucking movie, to be quite honest.
Yeah, she does seem she's the only one that does not have a motive and is just outwardly shitty.
What?
Elphaba. And then also the like Peter Dinklage's the goat.
Are you saying she's not shitty?
Yeah. Elphaba's like the only person that's non-shitty in the entirety of Wicked. Obviously. Everyone else is a piece of shit.
Including, and in highest regard, her unfortunately disabled sister. Elphaba, like Nessa Rose, for all the problems that she is, unfortunately, there is the problem of the fact that she cannot walk. She gains magic slippers later on in order to walk, etc., etc. We all know. That bitch gets fucking trampled by a fucking
by a house
later on. Yeah. And I can't wait. I will cheer in that cinema when that absolute bitch gets. No one will mourn the Wicked that day. So, that's all I will say.
It is, but, I think you are right, and this is definitely setting up for like. I hadn't even thought about it, but they're just gonna like part 2 might just be them redoing Wizard of Oz.
Okay, so the second part of Wicked is, from my understanding, they aren't in it very much, but you do see that original 5 cast.
You see it from like the outskirts. You see it from the sidelines.
No, you do see them. You see the characters, and you see how they get to them, and you see.
What I mean is, like, you're seeing it from the perspective of other people involved in that. So, like, occasionally you'll see it's like being a fucking like side character in the One Piece universe, and it's just like, oh yeah, no, Luffy came to visit or whatever.
Well, you do see like Dorothy and stuff. They have. My point is, like, they have to be cast in part 2. The thing is about part 2, and that those people who have to be cast, Dorothy's the only one who we haven't seen yet, because the lion. This is the thing that annoys me the most. The lion, the iconic, like, gay, fruity little lion from The Wizard of Oz, a character I've always adored because he is me in every way.
He's a fruity king.
He's the stupid lion that Fiero and Elphaba save.
Oh, is it
grows
that,
up into
really?
an adult. It grows up into an adult and becomes Dorothy's. It's so fucking stupid, dude. I hate it so much. It's the worst. Yeah, so that's
why is that? That's so already we're getting like backstory for characters that don't. That was always part of my problem with Wicked. Is it really was just like I do not need any of this.
I don't need this. This is stupid. It's just fan fiction. At its worst, and like the best part is like again, the lion. Like, do you want to hazard a guess? Do you want to even guess who the Scarecrow is?
Is it gonna be the fucking Munchkin? Or...
Oh, that's the Tin Man.
Oh yeah, okay. I remembered him being something.
The Tin Man, SpongeBob himself, is encrusted and turned into a horrific metal man without a heart, much like he is in real life. By Nessa Rose, because he ends up like going back to Glinda, and then Nessa Rose gets all angry, and then she becomes the Wicked Witch, and then puts spells on everyone, basically.
Who the fuck is the Scarecrow then? I like genuinely don't remember.
It's Fiero.
Okay, it is the prince.
Yeah, it's the prince. Which just makes me have so many questions of it. Just feels like circumventing things that already exist and writing them bad backstories for no reason.
Yeah,
it's just
that really is just like, why are you like, these are not important things to have at all.
Not at all.
I don't know why we. See, this was always kind of, again, this is the problem with Wicked, is it's trying to do like a Star Wars thing, right? Where like Star Wars, right, you see a lightsaber or whatever, and you're like, oh, that's Luke's lightsaber. Except you're doing that with Wizard of Oz, which is a movie that doesn't have much like backstory to it.
No,
doesn't need it. Doesn't have a universe that you're like, oh, I really want to be in that universe. I want to know more about it. It never has. It is a very simple, very straightforward fairy tale. And for years, unbeknownst to me, for some fucking reason, there has been studios consistently trying to capitalize on some sort of sequel to The Wizard of Oz. There has been Oz the Great and Powerful. I think there's been like a few other retellings that were kind of something along the same thing. There was obviously Wicked, which is one of the earliest ones that was kind of like trying to be a sequel to it.
Obviously, still to this day, it's also still uncanon because it is technically like there's a reason why Glinda is called Galinda at the beginning, because they couldn't legally call her the same, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like all of the continuations are more or less, they exist in this weird like fake canon universe that's not real. But the thing that they're all building up to every time, like this is the same with shit like Oz the Great and Powerful. Every time the thing they are building up to is a random girl that shows up and walks to a place, and that's it. There is no fight. There is no conflict in The Wizard of Oz. It's just a woman walking and singing songs. So it's always set up in this like foreboding, like scary, like shadowy, like, oh, the future is uncertain. There's a war on the midst. Like that's what Wicked is setting up. And then Judy Garland shows up and she's just like dancing and skipping to the fucking Capitol. Oh, I don't understand. I don't understand, man. Why are you trying to make Game of Thrones the fucking Wizard of Oz?
That is really the biggest question mark for me for part 2 is who the fuck are they gonna give that to Dorothy?
Given the current the current act, I would assume it's gonna be some other musician, right? It's gotta be.
Now, damn. What if it's Charlie XCX?
It's not gonna be Charlie. There's no way.
What if?
If it was Charlie XCX, part 2 would be a movie I would be excited to see.
I need to see the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and then like a limousine comes over, and like a door opens, and a bunch of like cigarette smoke pillows out.
Given
she's in a cunty little checkered shirt, and she's like, "Hi, babes, it's me, fucking 365 Polygon Dorothy. I just killed my dog and sold it for coke."
See, in a better reality, that would be it, because that would be great. It would be Dorothy being like this. It would be Dorothy being this like fail girl, failing her way towards Oz, and just like fucking things up. And I think that would be great. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be someone boring like Taylor Swift or
okay, Taylor Swift's not an actor.
She was in Cats, wasn't she?
That's true.
She can do it. Dorothy doesn't even need to sing that much. Dorothy doesn't even need to act that much. She just needs to sing.
Let's face it, Dem, of all the characters that are going to have a new song. Come on. Dorothy's gonna have a new song.
Right,
That's
so why
obvious.
not cast like the most boring generic white woman ever as Dorothy and have her sing a few songs and that's it.
But she's too tall for it. Like she's like 7 foot.
They can make people shorter with CGI. It's possible.
Yeah, but why would you bother? You know who it's actually gonna be? It's gonna be the girl from who's Snow White in that new movie who hates her job. Oh my god, what's her name? Rachel something? You don't know who she is. You don't know women.
I don't know anything else she's done, but I know of her from that movie. Rachel
Ziegler
does sound like a familiar name. What the hell is she
Wait,
doing?
no, it's not Rachel Ziegler. I'm a fucking idiot. Hang on.
Rachel Ziegler does sound familiar, but yeah, I don't think it's her. I don't know what else she's been in, honestly.
It is. I'm so stupid. Yeah, it is Rachel Ziegler. She's in Snow White. She's in West Side Story. She's in the Hunger Games, the new Hunger Games that came out. Yeah, it's gonna be her because she can sing.
The only thing I know her for is West Side Story, then. That's it.
It's gonna be her though. Like, there's no question. She even looks like Dorothy.
Definitely possible. Quite possible, actually. Yeah, that'd be it. That might be it.
She's boring.
She's
boring.
You'd want someone who's a big name, but not big enough to overshadow Ariana Grande or
Cynthia. I think it's definitely gonna be her.
So that actually might make sense. Like, that honestly might not be a bad pull.
And I genuinely think Rachel Ziegler's like a movie ruiner, so that'll be fun to see how bad part 2 can be.
It's completely possible that part 2 somehow, like, we're gonna hear a story that someone has died on set in the editing room, because it's done shooting, so it'll be in the editing room.
Yeah, someone, like one of the editors somehow passed us out due to cocaine overdose.
Like,
honestly,
it's completely possible that this movie has a body count. I do think you might be right on that one.
At this point, is it like, with the fucking press tour next year, is Ariana Grande's septum gonna survive until then?
I sure hope.
She's like, my god, she's doing. Yeah, I will say, like,
she really doesn't look good. Every single thing I've seen of her, from compared to like even a year or 2 ago, she looks not healthy right now. Eat some
every
food,
element.
You need
of
those
this
good fats.
Every element of this film, I wonder how many times I'm going to say every element of this film before Dan interrupts me for a 5th time.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll eat the sandwich that I have. Quietly.
much like the girls should be doing. And that's the worst part. I don't want to make cross jokes about women's bodies because these two women are incredibly talented singers. Ariana Grande is problematic in a lot of ways, unfortunately, but Cynthia seems lovely. She's a real talent. The actress who plays Nessa Rose is apparently insane.
Dem here, cutting in to say that this statement is incorrect, and I apologize for its inclusion, but I can't really cut around it as it's in the middle of a conversation. So sorry about that, but the information is also not correct. We're sorry, Nessa Rose. I mean, not to the character, but to the actress.
Which that makes sense. Can't wait to see her get fucking killed. You want to know my favorite person in this movie, and it's a really bizarre shout.
Who?
So there's a character in the book, right, he's like a background character, but he's not really that important, but he has a few lines. And for whatever reason, they brought him back for this movie. Do you know who Bowen Yang is? It's like a SNL comedian.
Yes.
Like the gayest person in the world, Asian.
Yeah, he was here. He was Glinda's little like side.
She was her, yeah. He's her fag hag basically.
Yeah, who never gets to do anything fun.
He is a character in the book, who perfectly named Fanny.
Okay, good.
His name is Fanny. They gave the one gay man in the movie. Actually, no, that's not true. Jonathan Bailey's gay. They gave one of the most openly gay men in the movie the cast role Fanny. So that's great. You're American. You probably don't know why this is funny.
No, I do.
Do you know what Fanny is?
Yeah,
okay, good.
I get it.
So there's that. I've loved Bowen Yang for a long time. I think he's genuinely really funny. I think I also kind of have a bit of crush on him. I think he's quite cute for whatever reason.
I think my biggest thing is I was a little disappointed that her two little like friends that she had following her around were not more like played up and more fun.
Totally. I get why the movie's so long. There's only so much you can do.
It's so long as it is.
I do think Bowen really did a great job in terms of milking every single scene he was in, because he was looking at the camera every single time he was on screen.
Him and the other girl that he was with were both great. They were genuinely great. One of the things, they're some of the only other casting beyond the main two that I'm like, genuinely, I wish I had seen more of them.
Same. I think Bowen was so fun. My favorite line of the biggest laugh.
I would have honestly loved more playing around in that mean girl space of her being like a fun little bully, and then
that's why I think the best. That's why I think the best song in the movie is "What Is This Feeling?" because it's about the pettiness and the callousness of them both hating each other at the beginning of the movie, which is all the best stuff.
Yeah, that was great. That stuff's fun. I do wish there was a little like you could probably have cut a song somewhere and maybe done more of that.
Well, that's what Wicked should be. I don't see why all this weird, like, insane, there's gonna be a war on the racism attacking all of...
So
what are we doing? It's
none of this is important to the Wizard of Oz.
Like, can we not go back and see the girls hanging out in their cool dorm? Like, that was way more entertaining, because it actually kind of felt charming in a lot of ways. I don't know, I think Wicked as a story is just so fucking stupid, especially the further it goes along.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's very clear, like, the original writer, it feels like, had some idea of, like, okay, what it would be kind of cool to see, like, the Wizard of Oz through the eyes of the people at the end of it, or whatever, like, the people
involved. And modernize it, and, like, make it more susceptible for modern audiences.
We need to have more going on here, so they also wanted to staple on this, like, high school bullshit that's happening. In reality, Wicked feels like it could be one of two movies, and it seems like it's doing neither. That's how the stage play felt too. Like it could have been one of two things, and it decided to veer off into, like, both I think have potential to be interesting. However, trying to do both in one play does not work, and so the result of it is like this disjointed mess.
I just really hate animals being used as racism allegories. I think we're done, gang, with that. I think we can move on.
It's pretty boring. It is pretty over the top.
It's just, and in the movie, it just comes out of nowhere. And it's just like, all right, that's what we're doing, I guess. That's what the movie's about. Because there's enough going on with the characters.
There is plenty
to frame the story. Like, you don't
and
have
also
to,
like the green skin is already quite literally a pretty fucking obvious allegory there.
Yeah.
Like it's already, it's not even an allegory, it's the face saying, oh, she's a different color than us.
Sure, it is ironic considering the original two women were white.
Yes, yeah. That's always been, hey, Wicked baby.
Earlier, me and Dem were texting, and I mentioned Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth, and he didn't know they were in the movie. So that was fun.
I completely didn't. Where are they?
So when they get to, when Cynthia and Ari get to the City of Oz, there's a large musical number, which I think is the worst musical number in the entire movie because it's nothing.
Yeah, I don't remember it at all.
Here is the city. We're in a city. City movement. Look at the city. And the whole city looks like it's the most fucking CGI. It looks like the end of Shang-Chi. Do you remember the end of Shang-Chi?
I do, because I watched it recently, and
that movie just sucks at the end for no reason.
I was talking about this, like, because people have for years been like, oh no, it's good, it's got good action scenes, it's a good movie, and then I first watched it, fucking hated it. Watched it again, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it again. Also hated it. The moment that movie goes from like fun, kung fu fighting and shit and like buildings and doing all the like this cool shit, to just being a Marvel CGI fest, it becomes a terrible film.
Which is what happens in the second act of Wicked, basically, because they just go to Oz and everything looks gross for like
everything looks terrible.
Yellow, piss yellow, like crap. The end of that movie is so ugly. Everything about it, including Defying Gravity, which as a song, amazingly performed. Cynthia is a talent and a half. My God.
Oh, great song. The visuals were terrible.
Yeah. Also, I kind of hate in movie musicals when they break up a song. Like, I hate when they have to just play the whole song. Just play the whole song the whole way through. Don't cut it and then be like...
I think I'm also that.
Don't have them running through. Like, just start Defying Gravity.
Unless it's like a reprise or something, and it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing.
Well, they're gonna do that in part 2 for sure, because we're gonna hear Defying Gravity again. Let's face it.
There are ways to do that, and yeah, I do not. I think most of the time it's just kind of goofy to do that. I will say one thing that I do appreciate for this musical is that every one of the musical numbers does seem to be in universe.
What do you mean?
Like Cynthia will just start singing and like people seem to react to it.
Well, yeah, that's what a musical is.
What I mean more so is in a lot of musicals, the musical act, the musical number is not necessarily taking place in reality. It's kind of like a Yakuza fight happening in a Yakuza game, where it's like a non-canon event or whatever, and then people kind of go back to their normal things the moment the song ends. That is not the case in this.
You could still argue the same thing though for this. I mean, when people start singing, everyone starts singing. It's not music in musical theater is not meant to be taken literally.
That's what I more so mean is there's a few parts early on where it's just like Cynthia singing and like people around her seem to be reacting to the singing, but they're not joining in.
Sure, but again, that's just, I don't know, like that's not really the language of musical theater. Like, if someone sees someone singing, it's not that the world that they're in, they find it weird. It's just that's how people talk. It's the same way like when Fiyero walks in for the first time, he's basically singing, talking. Like no one is being like, why is he singing? They're more like, oh my God, he's so sexy and totally not gay. He's totally not gay. Oh my God, Jonathan Bailey is so fucking faggy in this movie. Like, Fiyero has always been pretty gay as a character, but like, oh my God. Like, when he's like, ooh, I'm totally flirting with Ariana, it's like, sure you are, babe.
Yeah, I never really bought there like any chemistry from that character at all.
Because he's a fruity boy. I'm sure he had more time with Bowen Yang on that set than he did with the two girls, let's face it. Yeah, my favorite line in the entire movie actually was Bowen as well, by the way, which was when Jonathan Bailey as Fiyero walks in for the first time, and all the girls are like swooning because he's like, oh my god, he's such a pretty prince and stuff. Yeah, it cuts, and then Fanny is reading like the whatever, like the class sheet, and he comes up behind them, and then he's like, oh, hi, enroll here often? And then just pushes them aside. That killed me. I swear to God, I'm going to start using that from now on. I love the term enroll here often.
Good. Yeah, no, that...
And honestly, anytime he like had an ad lib or like he had like some really stupid like background joke lines that fucking got me every time.
Again, like I just wish there was more of a it's just disjointed. That's always been the problem with this musical, is it just feels unfocused in terms of like what it wants to be, because the first half of it does want to be this like, you know, just like a fun campy like college musical essentially. Which is fun, and that's a really good setup for a musical, and it could work really well, and it honestly does work really well until they leave, and then all of a sudden it decides to become a fucking like historical drama piece for some reason.
It gets too big for its own britches. It has notions halfway through it for no fucking reason and believes it has to.
It's like halfway through it remembers like, oh wait, this character that I'm setting up is supposed to be like one of the, you know, like the main villains of the Wizard of Oz movie, so she has to actually go off and do important things. Yes. Oh well.
But I think you could have even gotten that message without all the crazy racism stuff. All they really needed to do.
They really did not need to lean into that with the animals.
All they
Especially
really need
because
to
the only reason it exists, by the way, if you really think about it, the only reason that exists, the sole purpose of it existing, is to give Cynthia a second reason to go visit Oz. She already had one, but they decided to give her a second one. Her original one was, oh, he might be able to turn my skin not green.
Well, I mean, okay,
but then the animals exist purely for them to then, you know, they have their rights taken away, and then she's like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to the headmaster and have her like try and get me, or try. She talks to the headmaster after that, and that's what prompts her to go and like get her a ticket, basically. Like the sole purpose that plotline exists for is another reason for that to happen, and I guess also to set up the stupid fucking lion, which I hate. That sucks.
I know the lion thing is so stupid. I because I didn't know this, and my boss was talking to us about part 2 basically, and I was like, oh, just spoil it, it's fine. And then he was like, what do you want to know about the lion? I was like, what do you mean? Why does the lion have a backstory? Oh my god, what do you mean the lion? And then he was yeah. I got so angry. I was like, this is so stupid. Why do we care? And why do we care as culture? Why do we care so much about this pink girl and this green girl? Why are queers so fascinated by this story?
I don't know, man. There's so many better ones out there for us.
I suppose it's because Wicked as a force, it gave a lot of people hope in a time when they didn't see musical theater as being like successful or like silly. Like there was a lot of like musical theater around that point that was like quite serious and quite dark. So Wicked for a lot of people was like kind of an escape, and kind of a very, very pretty escape.
Yeah, because
but when you really look at it though as a story, it's pretty gross.
It's like definitely a product for its time that like thinks it is more progressive than it is.
It's very rent coded. You're right, actually. Now that I think about it.
Oh yeah, no, it is. That again, this is a movie for people who love Rent. It's a stage play for people who love Rent, which is itself what I think to be a particularly nasty view of a lot of things that is deeply flawed. However, I will give Rent some props in that it is a piece of queer media that does depict queer people as less than perfect sometimes, which, God, it's getting more and more rare for things to be willing to do that anymore. It feels like that's just kind of an off-the-table thing now.
Yeah, but then I would also make the point of, like, Rent as a piece of media is just, it's so...
Rent is genuinely quite mean and nasty in a few ways that I don't like. That's its own thing.
Yes, it presents queerness as like difficult and obviously, you know, AIDS crisis, etc., etc. But did they really need to make the one trans character, you know, start off her introduction by killing a dog? Like, there's just so many. There's so many yikes.
There's so much things of that. Well, the problem is that Rent and Wicked are both written in such a way, and I think this is part of kind of what makes them a little more disturbing for us, is they're written in such a way that it is like the writers almost can't see what's wrong. Like they'll write somebody who's supposed to be like bad or whatever, and then they'll also have all these like side characters and whatever, and like the side characters will sometimes do things that are like straight up fucked up or deranged, but it's never actually put in a bad light or anything like that.
That's the interesting.
Like they almost
thing.
seem unaware of the actual like. Yeah, it'll be a matter of like they're writing a story and they're like, okay, and then this character does a bad thing, and in their mind, that's enough, but they aren't like actually thinking of the implications of like, say somebody being a fucking psychopath and killing a dog or a cat or whatever, and filming it.
Yeah. I mean, the craziest thing, like, because I mainly have been talking about like Wicked maybe as a cultural force, but like I suppose my main thing about this movie and kind of my views on kind of Wicked as a piece of structure is Glinda is very important to like the story and how Elphaba changes as a character. And I think the missing link in this movie is Ari, because she missed the fucking forest through the trees. She just didn't see how this character was supposed to work, because as you said earlier, everything about her presentation of this character is so both uncomfortable but also disjointed. There's so many odd little details that she does that everyone keeps lording her for, and I don't understand as to how it fits as a character. There's so many scenes where she's presenting this kind of high energy Kristen Chenoweth, hyper girly, almost Elle Woods style form of psychopathness. And then it'll cut away from that and it'll just be Ariana Grande saying Ariana Grande things. And she'll be like, ooh girl, yeah, ooh slay, Oz. And then it's like, sorry, what? Because 5 seconds ago you weren't talking like that. 5 seconds ago you were talking like Kristen Chenoweth, because you've been essentially acting as her for the last however long, because you basically learned it from her. See, the thing about Glinda in this movie is I don't think Ari was too respectful, and it came off to the character, and it came off as like a child pretending to be a character.
Yeah, I will say that. Like, I didn't really. There are people who play really good, like mean girls. There's quite a lot, you know. Like one of the archetypes I fucking love in like a high school story or whatever is like the shitty girl, mean girl, or like, you know, Heathers, or I love that. I love that type of character, and I feel like Glinda is supposed to be that, and I do not feel like Ariana Grande gets that.
She's not really meant to be quote unquote mean.
No, not
girl.
mean, but like that kind of like prissy, like pampered girl and stuff. I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think she does a good enough job doing it, and I think part of it is an inability to like. I don't know, because I personally, I don't put the blame directly on her, because generally when it comes to something like this, it's the director or it's the acting coach telling her how to act in a specific way, or not telling her, like, you know, hey, this isn't the energy I want you to put out for a character, right? So it's not solely on an actor for not acting a character in a certain way. It's a little bit more involved than that. But the direction here, it really does feel like they're in a weird place where they want to make Glinda more, I guess, likable.
To be fair, it really didn't help that they were essentially dealing with a woman whose entire medical and her entire breakfast a majority of the time was a bowl of cocaine. So I'm sure it was pretty hard to actually deal with her.
Yeah, I'm sure that definitely is a part of it. I just don't like to make any assumptions based on that right away, because a lot of that is, you know, it's more complicated than it just being one person. Because there should exist a bunch of people there in the process that are, you know, exist to help an actor get to the point where they need to get to.
What's the thing? Like, is Glinda meant to be likable?
I mean, she's popular, she's likable, and she's like this the prissy schoolgirl archetype that you see in a lot of stuff. Like, she's pretty generic,
did you at any point in the movie warm to her?
No. She's supposed to be nicer near the end, but part of it is just I didn't really believe her. I didn't really get invested in her from the start. I just didn't.
I just never got Ari as Glinda. I think Ari just wanted the role so bad that she.
I don't think she's the best casting. I think, yeah.
You know when a person wants something so desperately that they can't actually see what they're doing? And it's kind of like a car crash, and you just kind of have to watch it?
Yeah.
That's what this felt like.
I definitely agree there. That it does feel exactly like she definitely wanted the role, but might not actually be like, meant for it. Because it's outside of what she would normally play. Like, for a role like this, I would want somebody to play it who... The big thing is, to me... Okay, I guess this is the big thing, right? Like, for Glinda specifically, her role, or what she should be in a stage show, or, in this movie specifically, is, again, the popular girl, really prissy, all this stuff. But, like, super, super friendly to people, except for Elphaba, who she should be, like, genuinely really, really shitty to. And I feel like there wasn't enough of that, like, in between. There wasn't enough of the, like even her nasty side, quote unquote, isn't particularly nasty. It's like toned down.
No, because the thing about the thing about Glinda is she doesn't think she's a bad person.
Yeah.
Glinda is fully, it's very similar to, like, have you ever seen Clueless? Like Sharon Clueless. She's like the level of delusional and rich where she thinks her worldview is the thing for everyone else and hers needs to be put on everyone else, and like she's kind of helping them through it. Which I can see that. I just don't think Ari brought much kindness to that element, because the girl's entire septum was chattering off to the point where I could see the inside of her fucking skull. So maybe that's why. Maybe we should have done a better medical procedure in terms of finding out if people should have been on set or not. But maybe she was just brought by her boyfriend while they were cheating on a woman who had a baby at home.
Yippee!
No, it's the wicked.
But they're defying gravity.
They are. And you know what? We're in queer space and we're in queer media, and we're defining the space and the queerness that we have together because we are defining gravity.
I think at the end of the day, the big thing for me, honestly, is much like the stage play, this feels like a movie for nobody that people desperately want to be for somebody.
I would say it's the exact opposite.
I don't think this movie is for anybody.
I think this movie is for everyone, and that is why it doesn't work.
I guess that's fair. Yeah.
No one along the process of either casting, editing, sound checking, visually checking, or even clearly marketing thought, how can we make this fun and good and charming and have soul?
I guess that's basically what I'm saying in a different way, because what I mean is this isn't focused on any particular thing or person or group or anything. It's not focused at all, and it's so unfocused that it's the
fact
just for nobody by the process of it trying to be so mass appealing that it's unwilling to actually focus in and hone in, and I genuinely think, here's the thing that's kind of whatever. When this was first announced, I thought to myself, oh, there's a possibility that you could make a good movie out of that stage show. Because I think Wicked's a pretty dog shit stage show that really needs some re-editing, needs some things cut, needs some things rearranged or whatever, right? And then it became very clear that that was not going to be it at all. They were not going to change anything. Yeah. And at that point is when I more or less became disinterested, because I've never been into it in the first place. And if they're unwilling to make, to change things or to change the scope of it or whatever, then fine, whatever. I think you genuinely could have made an interesting thing with this. This is basically a chance to do a redo, right? And they just didn't do anything with it. They didn't do fucking anything.
From minute one of finding out that SpongeBob was in this movie, I knew I had to see this, because
I didn't even pay attention to that part. I completely forgot that was a relationship thing when this happened.
Well, Sam, you have to remember that I'm in queer media.
That's true.
So,
and you're holding space.
I'm holding space for the lyrics of Defying Gravity, and every day I wake up and I think about these things. I think about the small gay little microcosms and who's dating who, and the fact that Jacob Elordi has a beard, and the fact that Shirley XCX brought out Caroline Polachek and Robin and Young Lean at her London sold-out show in the O2. Or the fact that Sabrina Carpenter has a Christmas special releasing on Friday that has Chaperone, Tyler, fucking Caliuchis and Shania Twain in it. These are the consistent things that are going through my head. So of course I am going to watch the fucking Wicked movie.
Oh, I'll probably watch part 2 as well. I'll probably get another bottle of rosé and enjoy it.
We gotta do it. We gotta do it.
The optimal way to enjoy this film, if you're going to, is to get blitzed as hell before you walk in. Buy a bottle of some kind of wine, a white or a rosé. I think rosé felt the most fitting for me, so that's why I went with it.
Yeah.
And then just drink that the entire time. You'll be having a good time. You'll be having a pretty good time. I was having a pretty good time.
You'll be mourning the wicked, as they say.
I was mourning the subplot where Peter Dinklage left the film because I was like, God, I'm not going to see Peter Dinklage anymore.
Yeah, because he was sent to Auschwitz.
Yeah, he was sent to...
He was sent to concentration camp on the fucking.
He was sent on a train.
On the Wizard of Oz speed train. God, Dorothy must be so pissed off about that train, by the way.
Yeah, what the fuck? When did that come in? When did that happen?
She had to walk the whole time, and there was a train.
All I can say aside from this is the only other thing was, I don't know. Maybe don't let Jeff Goldblum sing, but I think he has that sleazy energy you need for the wizard. That's it.
Yeah, don't let Michelle Yeoh sing.
Yeah, definitely don't let her sing. I don't think.
Bowen Yang.
Maybe actually just put less of her in the next movie. I don't want to be mean to her. I just don't think she was particularly good in this.
No, you can be mean to Michelle Yeoh. She has an Oscar now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, no, she wasn't very good in this.
No, she's terrible in this. Genuinely, one of the worst.
I don't know if it's just, again, I feel like part of it is, I don't know that the director is very good at giving people direction, but part of that might be because he was fucking wrangling Ariana Grande the entire time.
Or he didn't care.
Or he just didn't care.
Which is realistically what actually is the answer.
That's probably realistically it, because I feel like anyone who really, 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 truly cared could have made a little bit more of an entertaining movie to watch through my eyes.
Well, I'd go even much further and say if anyone ever actually really cared, they wouldn't be a theater kid.
I guess you're right.
They would open the door from their mother's basement.
You know what I think the solution is, Coffee?
Yeah.
Everybody should take the nearest brick and just throw it at the nearest theater kid. We could prevent the next Wicked, the next Hamilton from happening.
That's true. We could save Ariana Grande's septum if we really
we would be able
for a gag.
If we all just went for the set, guys, we could save her. Well, no, it's already done shooting, so it's already done. Whatever damage is done is done.
Yeah, because she's gonna have to. She's that production. Oh, it's so sad. She's probably gonna die.
I'm curious what amount of the budget went to the Coke Fund.
Oh God.
There's gotta I want to see a breakdown, right?
Yeah. So if I can imagine that lunch table: Bowen, Ari, Cynthia, Ethan for sure.
Everyone's on that weirdest, table. Yeah. I have not watched an interview in a while where it feels very clear that the people being talked to are not sober.
No. In no way.
Sober and not sober, and clearly having not eaten for days.
You haven't seen Charlie XCX get interviewed recently, then. But that's at least her vibe. She's like, yeah, of course I haven't eaten, and I've only done a Coke in the last 2 daes. Exactly.
I expect her to be honest. If you ask Charlie, hey, have you been doing some Coke? She'd say yes.
She literally just admits it.
Yeah, exactly.
On stage.
She'd say yes. Most people are the type to be like, I would never do that. Excuse me while I go to the bathroom.
Excuse me. Yeah, how many? God, the bathrooms at Shits. Oh my God. Could you imagine being a janitor in that school every 5 minutes?
I don't know, man. Yeah, again, there's a good musical trapped inside of Wicked. Somebody should make it someday.
Damn. What's my ending thoughts? Bowen Yang, if you hear this, I'm so single. I'm actually unfortunately not. Yeah. Bowen, still call me anyway.
Congrats to you. Yeah, I mean, you never know. If your hubby knows it's him, it might open the gates to three-way.
But also, like, Bowen's got a lot of money. Why not? He could fund it. Come on, Bowen, come on the pod. I
genuinely, I would love nothing more than to have anyone involved with the Wicked production on our podcast in one way or another.
No, we're not. No, Ethan is banned from this podcast. Ethan is not allowed on this podcast. If Ethan comes on this, I'm leaving.
You would want him to come on?
No, Ethan and Nessa Rose. I want Nessa Rose to fucking choke.
Okay.
Next year.
Well, let's aim low. Okay, Jeff Goldblum.
Ariana.
You're not doing much these days.
We'll get Mary for sure. I'll get a little baggie and I'll just shake it at the screen and she'll come. The
problem is she still has like a promising career. We need to be somebody who's like on the edge of like not being important anymore. That would, because then they'd come to us. It's got to be like somebody who is like an extra.
Everyone in this movie is too famous, unfortunately.
I think so. Maybe the not Boeing one of the two.
The other girl?
The other girl that I don't think spoke once. I think she spoke maybe a few lines. I genuinely don't remember anything she said.
Well, she obviously like sung in the ensemble section of,
But I mean, like in terms of lines, she didn't get anything. How the fuck do you create two comedic side characters, by the way? How do you take two comedic side characters that exist for the sole reason of being like the comedic side characters in a play, and then you make them like basically non-existent? What are you doing? What's going on?
It's interesting over the course of this podcast that I've seen like Dem's form of nitpicks appear. And obviously everyone has like things in movies or culture that like upset them or like piss them off. I've already noticed you dislike the removal of like fun side characters, and I get it.
I like to have fun.
Fun side characters are fun. No, I think it's charming about you because you said the same thing in the. Oh my god, what movie was it? What am I forgetting? Oh, in the Glitter review, you were like pissed off that the two like side characters that Mariah Carey had were like removed. That I like that's a detail about you. You love when like there's two weirdos.
It's one of the
oldest
like, tropes in movies, baby, and let me tell you, it works. You don't break what ain't broken. You don't fix what ain't broken.
No one fixes the wicked.
No one fixes the wicked.
Well, I hope someone fixes whatever the hell is happening.
What if part 2 is really good? There are two funny realities that happen, right? One of them, Wicked 2 never releases for whatever reason. Maybe because somebody died on set.
Yeah. So someone dies on set, or someone passes away between the release and in a really weird way.
Or there's like some horrific news that comes out. It was also published by WB, isn't it? It's by Warner Brothers. So there is not an insignificant chance that they just decide to kill it for tax reasons.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's too big. Like this, we're all seeing.
You said that. You say that. You say that it's too big, but they've killed pretty big movies before.
I know this is successful.
I don't know, man. WB's current leadership right now. They're kind of dog shit. Warner Brothers right now.
I know, but let's face it. We're all gonna see this next year. It's gonna be a horrible return of hell. Who knows if me and Dem are even gonna be alive by then? Who even knows?
The other reality is that what if it's really good? What if it's really good? I mean, what if part 2 is like where he put all the songs?
They'd need like a different director and a different like visual lighter and a different like engine to render whatever AI crap they're making. Like it, they just need an entirely different idea.
All I genuinely want, get somebody to color grade your film a little better. Come on, let's stop with the it's got to be future, it's got to be realistic excuse. I hate that shit. And number 2,
you know what scene I hated?
Which?
About like the CGI and the color grading, the monkey reveal. That was so stupid.
The monkey reveal was also pretty bad. Yeah.
I was like, this is so ugly looking.
Everything it's just
everything is gross and badly lit, and like I can barely see what's happening.
That's one of the biggest problems I have with like this like retroactive attempts to make the Wizard of Oz universe this more grounded, grittier universe. It's so weird to me.
Yeah.
Because the original universe, the original fucking movie, it exists in like it's just supposed to be fun sets. Everything looks like a set. Everything looks fun and colorful, and it's a set piece.
I rewatched Fire Walk with Me last night.
Great movie.
And I was a great movie. And I was reminded of Wild at Heart when Cheryl Lee shows up dressed up as Glinda halfway through it. If you remember that. That's what I just kept thinking of. I kept thinking of that visual of Cheryl Lee dressed up as Glinda. Would that have been a better casting?
I'm gonna say yeah. Cheryl Lee, yeah.
She looked amazing. You know what I really want to watch now? I really want to track down a DVD copy of The Wizard of Oz Muppets, because it's got Queen Latifah and Quentin Tarantino in it.
It does, yeah. I think you mentioned you were wondering why Quentin Tarantino shows up, and I had to explain to you that he does in fact just show up.
He sure does. Does he talk about feet?
No, I think he's just like telling what's his name? He's telling Kermit that he should like kill people in movies or something. He's like, you need more action.
He's telling Fozzie to say more slurs.
Same way. You got listen. I looked at your script and it's all pretty good and stuff, but I see that you didn't write any excuses for your character to say the N-word. So I wrote a few in there for you.
Just think about it. Elphaba could say it so many times.
She could say it so many times. There's so many places where you could say it. It'd be so good.
And then she could let Glinda say it.
And then they could turn to their friend Quentin Tarantino, and he can say it.
Also, you know what I fucking hate? You know what I fucking hate about this movie so much, and it drove me insane? Anytime they did their stupid little dorky, like, joke language, when they would be like, I'm gonna pontify a questionnaire. Anytime they, like, spoke fake language. You know that shit when, like, Glinda's all like, I'm gonna pontificate.
I do. I know what you're talking about.
We need to magicify the situation. Like, fuck, just speak like a fucking person, I swear to God.
It was fine. It's cute. It's whatever.
I hate. It's like Whoville language. It's like Christmas Disney gay. It just drives me insane.
I do find that annoying, but that is also like an established thing.
Yeah, it's annoying though. It's just but then Ari is like sitting over here and saying like, yeah, I'm Glinda. Oh yeah, ooh girl, don't you say none of that. And she's speaking like she's in a fucking TikTok. And then she's over here being like, I'll pontificate your theoretical bestie.
Yeah, that is also definitely another thing. This seems to be like so genuinely confused about like what time era it is set in, or like
what
how
time
people
era,
should
what
speak,
tone?
what tone. So it's like this weird mix of like kind of fantasy and kind of modern language that people use.
Yeah,
and it does.
It's really
it just
distracting.
feels it's odd. It is odd. I do. That is definitely one thing.
It feels like when you go to a fur meet and people actually say stuff like "ooh woo small bean," and you just have to vomit in your mouth and leave. We've all been there.
We've all been there.
We've all fucking been there. So, much like a bad room party, let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's get out of here. It's starting to stink in here.
Wicked Part 2.
I pontificated on this movie a little too much.
God, we're gonna have to see it again next year. It's the worst part. We have to.
Are you excited for them to do like a new rendition of "We're Off to See the Wizard" with Dorothy? Whoever gets cast as Dorothy.
If it's Charlie XCX, I'm gonna be so happy.
It's not gonna be Charlie. There's no fucking way.
What? She's gonna be acting now. That's her new thing. She's already like set into 5 separate movies next year.
But okay, you know what my main reason is? I think Charlie XCX would be approached for the movie Wicked and go, fuck no.
Oh, here's a perfect. So you're 100% right. I know you do. I know you did like the little outro audio for Saving Space, obviously, because we need that to be the intro. If you want to do a separate like little outro audio, there is an incredible interview with Miss Charlotte a couple of years ago. where she just blatantly says, "I just don't like musicals. I hate them. They're not for me." I think if someone ever adapted my music into a musical, I would be sad.
Amazing.
So we can play that.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I'll send that to you. I'll send that to you in a second. I hope we can get Charlie on the pod someday.
I would love to. Hey Charlie, we're big fans.
Hey, Charlie.
I genuinely, I'm not even like a club music person. I quite like Brett. I was having a bit of a Brett summer there. Remix album is also really good.
Listen. Even everyone can have a Kyle MacLachlan to their Rachel Sennott, and that is what Dem is to me. Dem is my Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle MacLachlan. I feel, I couldn't be happier than to be compared to that beautiful man.
I just love that he loves Charlie so much. It's so sweet. It's such a bizarre friendship.
He just loves everyone so much. I want to see him in more stuff. People better cast him and shit before he gets too old, man.
I don't think he really wants to do much these days. I think he's pretty content with just like doing.
But he's, I just like seeing him. Especially these days. He looks so fucking hot in his Silver Fox era.
Okay, let's calm down.
Do you disagree?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
I don't see him.
Okay, wow.
No, he's like an uncle to me. Like,
he is like an uncle, but I'm like a.
I don't even see him as like a sexy uncle. Like he's just like, I don't know. He's there. Like I think he's a talent and he's amazing. I literally watched all of the Follow show just for him, and he's barely in it. Not to be fair, I watched it for Matt Berry as well. See, that's my type.
Matt Berry's pretty, yeah.
Matt Berry's the hottest man who's ever existed.
He's definitely up there. He
made it pretty high on my list.
He's pretty high on my list. My other one is Mulder from X-Files. I really think David Duchovny is attractive in that show.
I think he's more attractive in Twin Peaks.
Than Kyle MacLachlan?
What's her name? The character?
Oh, you're talking about Scully?
No.
What are you fucking talking about?
I'm talking about the guy from X-Files who was in Twin Peaks as like the trans investigator girl.
Oh. Yeah, I don't remember what that actor's name is.
That's Scully. It's like the guy from that's him.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. He just looks so fucking
What I'm saying is well, he looks hot as shit in that show. Him in the little miniskirt, it's ridiculous. I remember watching that scene and be like, holy shit, he's so hot.
David Duchovny, once in a lifetime. What a hot man. Both leads in X-Files are like the most attractive anyone has ever looked on television, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's totally fair.
Dana Scully is like probably the hottest a woman has ever looked.
Cast of Twin Peaks. Cast of Twin Peaks was pretty fucking hot.
I guess it depends.
Really?
I mean, aside from like from Kyle MacLachlan, I don't really.
Kyle was a pretty boy. Fucking.
Actually, I guess the sheriff is also there.
David Bowie.
David Bowie, he only gets to appear for a second, but yes, I do believe David Bowie is one of the most attractive men.
Fucking the log lady.
Yeah, the log lady. The log lady. That's
Audrey
right,
Morton?
Leo. Everybody likes
a
a guy who treats him a little bad. Everybody likes a Leo.
Bobby was cute. Bobby had like a boy next door energy to him. I couldn't stand the other one though. What was it, James?
James, yeah. Jesus. James could like go off a cliff.
Oof. James could. I wish he
did.
No,
most attractive Twin Peaks character is that time Michael Cera shows up for a second, and he then leaves the show completely. That's the most attractive one.
I would say it's Cooper's Asian girlfriend who's trapped in a drawer.
You're right.
She was so hot.
She also, yeah.
I miss her so much.
We all miss her.
I think about her every day. She's still in that drawer.
She is still in that drawer, and one day, we might be able to get her out. But you know what we can do? We can do today at least. We can talk about our plug.
In the Wicked. If you want to be popular, just like me, and just like Ariana Grande, you can go to my YouTube channel, where there definitely at some point will be a video. Not this year, because we are in December. I've had a really hard year.
Hey,
I've
I
had
feel
one
that.
of the worst years.
I
of my
feel
life.
that. I can relate to that. I think we can all relate.
My life has changed so drastically within the last 8 months. I don't think I'm the same person in any way. So it's been hard for you, boy, Coffee. But I promise I am getting back to it. The long-awaited video that I've been working on for a very long time, that there's no point in me saying what it is, because that'll make me not want to make it. Well, it's done, basically. Like, the script is done. I just need to actually record it and edit it and everything.
Yeah.
So stuff is coming. I've still been making TikToks. I've still been doing things. I've been living my life. I went to go see Charlie XCX. It was incredible. But you can find my YouTube channel at Coffeecakes. Usually just look up Coffeecakes and then put anime after it or something. You'll find it better. And then my Twitter is Coffeecakes, but with 3 E's in the middle, so Coffeecakes. TikTok is Coffeecakes TikTok, and Instagram is the same, Coffeecakes Insta. My Instagram is very fun. It's mainly pictures of me in the gym. So
nice.
There you go.
And if you
you
want to hear a grumpy old man wave his fist at the clouds, you can either subscribe to me. I mean, the best place to see what I'm thinking is probably my Twitter, which is just at the name is Dem. And you'll be able to find me there for my general thoughts.
Do you have a Blue Sky?
Yes, I do, and that one is just I think that one is Gabriel B. James. So my Blue Sky is Gabriel B. James. I think my other one is at the name is Dem. So you can follow me on those. I kind of post from time to time. It's mostly, again, me just kind of wagging my fist at the sky. But if you want to follow me on YouTube as well, I put stuff out on my own personal channel, Gabriel B. James, or on the upcoming channel that I'm going to put something on, Demenza's Gate, which is the main channel I work on, where I review games and talk about things in excruciating length. I have a almost 3-hour video that should be coming out this December, so I will actually have a video for you. So hey, if you're looking for a video, maybe check out Demenza's Gate, and if you want, you could even watch the most recent one. It's pretty good. It's a Berserk video I made about a series I like a whole lot. Those are the 2 best places to find me. The other one is something that's not quite fully established yet, but me and Coffee are working on a little something. It's nothing major, but we have something else relating to the Happy Campers umbrella that we will probably be, by the next episode, hopefully plugging for us as well here.
Yeah, me and Dem kind of like for the next, probably like most of next year, are gonna like really try and do a lot of content together, mainly just because we like each other as people, and we feel like we haven't really established that enough online. We'll probably do some streams or something when I like properly get my streaming set up.
Yeah, now that you're in a better place as well, and you're able to record a little more, it's going to be easier. And then also similarly, like I have a lot more time lately myself, so it's kind of been. We have unfortunately, Coffee's in fucking Ireland, and there is about a 7-hour time difference, which means it's a little hard to get together a lot of the time. So. We're looking to change it, and we have some things we've already recorded together, and we're gonna record more together. Yeah. And it should be pretty fun. But yeah, like I said, next episode we'll be able to talk about that more. But for the meantime, follow us on our places. Like I said, I'm putting out a video soon on Demenza's Gate. It'll be pretty good. It's kind of tangentially about the Callisto Protocol. But also more or less about the industry itself, and that it's fucking untenable. So maybe watch that when it comes out in a little bit here, which should be soon. But yeah,
I think that's the next episode of the actual pod itself should be like a roundup of 2020.
It probably should just be a general roundup of stuff we've watched this year and stuff we want to talk about. I think that'd be fun.
Just life stuff. Catch up. Next episode will be just very, very chill. It'll probably be after like Christmas as well, just because of how bad we are of recording. But
I'm gonna try and do a quick turnaround on this one. I'm trying to be better about that. I promise, chat. I don't know why I just called you chat, listener.
Yeah, for all 5 people in the chat,
Hi,
thank you very
chat.
much.
We appreciate you.
Hi, chat. We appreciate you. Very sorry that we kind of went off on this episode. I don't know.
There was a lot of much like Wicked
what
itself.
can I
It's a
say?
disjointed mess that you have to make something out of. And in about 10 years, people are going to have interpreted this as like us being 2 queer lovers, and this being a story of like queer happiness. When in reality, it was just it was just us talking some shit on a podcast, and it was never that deep. It was never that deep at all. But boy golly, will we pretend that was always the plan?
That's my line.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Right,
Good night.
good night. Good luck. Good night and good luck.
There you go.
And that's I really don't like musicals.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are great. I'm sure they're
But please
great.
stop singing.
I'm sure they're great people. They're really great actors. I really hate musicals. They make me angry.
All right. Worst musical you could
All
imagine?
of them. All
of them?
Yeah, everyone. Sorry, I know.
okay.
I know it's an art form. I know that there are some very beautiful musicals, and maybe I just don't have the level of taste to appreciate it. But it just bothers me. They bother me.
But when you have the chance or the possibility to write your own musical with your own music and your own story,
I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't. I don't want my songs to be represented in that way. It's hell come to life.